Fatality moves, I make you bleed. That's on any game, that's on any screen. Shut up and give me your money. They said we so lit. Even if I take an L, we coming back just to show that we don't quit. They said we hit. They said we on. They said we What's cracking? What's good, people out there? Thank you so much for joining me on the TSWS Gaming YouTube channel for the episode of Behind Them Sticks. And today I have a fun guest here with us that has been in the chat here before. He doesn't have his own channel. He's really just on Twitter doing his thing, playing games. I mean, I've told y'all, if y'all are new to this channel, I've told y'all I talk to people that are within the industry. I talk to people that podcast and whatnot. And sometimes I flat out just talk to gamers. And today I'm just flat out talking to a gamer, and I'm happy to have you here, Enate. I know you're a very knowledgeable brother, so I'm happy to have you here just to hear your background and how you kind of got into gaming and whatnot. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm happy to be here, talk gaming, you know what I'm saying, the history of it, you know, where we came from, and just like I said, it's been a pleasure just watching you work and see what everybody else has been doing, and I'm glad to add to it, man. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, good. I'm really happy to have you here. As you see, my energy changed a little bit once we get on this.
No doubt,
I had to, man, because like usually right before the show, I take a little nap and whatnot. Yeah. So like when the intro's popping off and whatnot, I'm just like, all right,
no doubt.
Time to punch with the voice a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, let's go on ahead and get into it. Brother, go on ahead and let everybody know where they can find you. I know I kind of threw it out there, but go on ahead and let them know the at, just in case.
Yeah. So just at The Real Enate on Twitter. Just nice and simple. You know what I'm saying? I do, like you said, I do podcasting and stuff, but all that information is always on there. It's retweeted on there. I podcast with a couple people, you know what I'm saying? And we just do that weekly and just vibe out, have fun, and just talk about gaming with people who actually do this. You know what I mean? So that's how we do it, man.
That's what's up. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that this ain't like the first go around for you. So you look fairly comfortable on the mic. You got the whole setup. You got your microphone. You got the camera. You looking crispy. You got the background. You know, doing your thing and whatnot. So you are not new to this.
Not at all.
Don't really do. You don't have anything regularly scheduled that you always have to appear on. Is that right?
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, it's just like I said, the weekly stuff is just I'm a panel member on someone else's podcast, but it's not like me specifically. Nah, like I just kind of do what I feel like. Sometimes I'll stream on Twitch just for the squad, you know what I'm saying, and just have fun with it. But I've helped a ton of people build their own channels. But yeah, I don't do anything regularly like that.
No doubt. As you guys see, there's a Twitter right there at The Real Enate. You can holla at him. Check him out. Good dude, knows his shit. Plays a lot of different type of games. Doesn't really seem to care as long as you get down in gaming and you ain't no bullshit. You ain't on no bullshit. So anyways, let's go on ahead and get into the topics and stuff as of today. Let's get to know this brother. I am going to be learning with you guys. I've only seen him in the chats here today, or not today, but in the past. And I've seen him on some other shows and whatnot too. Like, I believe I've seen you on correct me if I'm wrong, rap. But slow-mo backslap.
Yeah, so I've been on with slow-mo for a little bit sometimes, and then when he's just live doing like his lunch, Slow Mo Lunch, and then I've also been on Brap a couple times too. So
That's what's up. That's what's up. So you know what it is, and I see, and like I said just moments ago. I mean, obviously the brother got all the gear and whatnot together. You ain't gonna catch him lacking. He knows what he's doing over here.
absolutely not over
He's
here.
doing the damn thing, man. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you, man. Anyways, I was asking you right
Mhm.
before we got into the show, like, what was like the first kind of console that got you into gaming? And you told me that you had a few in the household, but your
Exactly.
main squeeze was the Genesis right here, this slit little baby right here. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? I know this is the whole tower and power, and back in the
I
day,
was
I
like, you
couldn't
got the whole
afford them.
thing.
I went to go all out. Um, I'm an adult now, right? I can afford this.
Yeah.
Go all out now. But back in the day, I actually tried this, little volume slider back in the day, playing it with the earphones on my little knob TV with the forks in the back, having to screw those suckers in. You know what I'm talking
Oh
about,
yeah.
brother, don't you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the struggle was real back then, for
It
real. And,
was.
and 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 sometimes when you first got like the consoles, especially like when the newer consoles came out, like I'm talking like 3DO, PlayStation, Sega Saturn. They ended up
Mhm.
having the composite cables, right?
Yeah,
And
composite versus the component joints.
TVs back
Yeah.
then, they didn't always have composite cables on there. So you had to get the VCR, and sometimes the VCR only had the yellow and white. If it
Yeah, so
was like
you
a
could push
cheap
it,
ass VCR, if it was a
use it like
good
a
VCR, it
pass-through.
had the the yellow, red, and white. Plug it in so you could
Mhm.
get the left and right instead of it being mono.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, man, the struggle was real. Back then, man.
Nah, man, but
I
it was
remember
all good
bringing
times
one
though.
console home one time and being like, "Oh shit, I can't even play.
Yeah.
I can't even play. I got to wait until tomorrow." And I'm a kid, man, so I'm damn near crying, bro. I wish I just got this sucker, man. I
I
just
wanted
want
to
to
hook it
play
up
my
right now.
game. I
Yeah.
can't.
Nah, man, I was lucky in that regard. Like once I got my own system, like you said, like I had the Nintendo, you know what I mean, access to the Nintendo and the Turbo Graphics. Just off the rip, that's what I started on. Duck Hunt, that was literally the first joint like that I ever messed with. And then right after that, you know what I'm saying, like I said, my first one that was like in my room, all my own, was definitely my Sega. So I was on it day one, and I pretty much got the Sega and the Super Nintendo like right after. So I was lucky in that regard because most people had one or the other, and I do know that. So I was
Right.
lucky to have both.
Right. Yeah. It ain't so much like now where like people are more willing to have everything, because back then it was just usually the parents that hooked you up with it and whatnot, and
Exactly.
gaming was really it was really kind of not that popular, right?
True.
It definitely isn't like what it is right now, to where it's just like you could really kind of dabble, you can try things out. I mean, it was more or less like you better go to your boy's house if you want to play Nintendo. But if you come over here, we rocking with the Genesis and whatnot. Sometimes you had to pack up your whole console if you wanted to go to your boy's house and like kick it for the night and whatnot. And
Absolutely.
back in the day, man, those were some fun, innocent times. But bruh,
It was.
we
It
were
was.
not playing near the amount of games that we're playing today.
Nah, I actually was laughing
Blockbuster
about
Video
that.
was life.
Yeah, Blockbuster was all about it, man. Can I rent a game this week? Especially when they finally came out with the 7 days, you could get the game for the full 7 days. That was beautiful. So yeah, I mean, I went through that a lot, which ironically, that was actually my first job in high school. I started working at Blockbuster primarily for the fact that I could rent stuff
Yo,
for free. So
yes, look at you.
yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
man, I'm tired of this bullshit. I'm
yep.
in, I'm in to work here so I can take this joint home and ain't got nobody can question.
Nope, no
Nobody can
late
question.
fees, none of
It's
that.
saving on your pockets. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I bet because they were probably more lax then, because towards the end of Blockbuster they started tightening up and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
and it's the same with game stores and whatnot. Like game stores were more willing when you worked there in the past to allow you, get brand new games and take them home and try them out and then sell it to somebody the next
Yep.
day.
Well, that was the thing. I
but
was also like
yeah,
their
times
game
has changed a
advisor.
little bit. But I want to shout before we go any further. I want to shout out the
Mhm.
27 people that joined us here recently. Shout out to y'all. I
No
appreciate
doubt.
y'all for pulling up. As you guys did, my lord, Ray Chu was here before we even started, and then a flood of y'all came through to support me and Enate. So I really appreciate y'all. So shout out to Abdullah. I see you in the chat. He says, my man Enate, one love, brother. Sensei, my boy. I had to clap them cheeks in Tekken the other day. I'm just playing, man. Sensei, calm down, brother. I know you beat me most of the time, but the way you was beating up on my boy Loke, I mean, I was proud of myself that I got you about like 6, 7, 8 times, man. I was proud of myself because I ain't no fighting game guy like that. So watching the way that he did my boy Loke was mad disrespectful.
Yeah, it's wild when you run up on people like that nowadays that really just be on the sticks constantly.
Yeah, Sensei ain't no joke in there. I had to really learn to be patient, to even get him. And like usually when I got him, it was like the last hit.
Okay,
like when it's like great.
Yeah,
it's like
barely,
I'm over here sweating, like oh shit. Like, I didn't think I was gonna get this win right here, but I did it, man. God damn.
Make you have to work for it.
Oh man, yeah, he ain't no joke. Especially when he got King, he knows how to do that shit where you just keep getting grappled. And I was telling him when he was doing it, I was like, you let me go, motherfucker. We're gonna have some problems. We're gonna have some problems as soon as you let me go. And get your arms from around me, motherfucker. I'm gonna fuck you up. So I'm talking all this shit. My wife's like, you need to be quiet. I'm on the phone over here and shit like that, man. It was wild yesterday. It was a good time. But you definitely get better playing with somebody that could just beat the brakes off.
I mean, you do, because you eventually just got to figure it out. I mean, that was like me versus my older brother in Street Fighter, and he would always wrap me up with Zangief all the time, and I hated that character to this day because of that. So
he do that little spinning move.
Yep, a little spin, grab you up, and then yep. Every time,
yeah, I
man.
felt a couple of those before. It ain't good. But shout out to Big Cloud. He's stopping through. I appreciate your brother, Viper Reaps Corner. What's cracking? Thanks for stopping through. Good to see you. But anyways, let's go on ahead and keep this pushing now. So you were talking about, the Genesis and that was like my first love console, like where it was mine, right? And like, I mean, I rode that sucker until the wheels fell off. I had to, prop up the back with like a couple games and whatnot because the AC adapter was all fucked up and shit. And I memorized the code. So like Mortal Kombat, it was AB, AC, ABB, blood dripping down the scene and whatnot. And you can do uppercuts and send people to the spikes and whatever.
Yeah, have the little toasty dude pop up and all that. I'm all about it.
Oh yeah, writing down your passcodes for Road Rash 2 and greatest heavyweight boxing, bro.
These days.
The Genesis was lit. Tell me about your time on the Genesis, though. What were you into? You heard a few of my games, but what were you into?
So I mean, you did bring up Road Rash. That was a big one for me. Me and my brother used to love playing that game a ton. Taking turns trying to pass the campaign kind of portion of it.
Right. Get the better bikes and whatnot.
Exactly, the better bikes and all that. Like that was my jam. So I used to love that a lot. NBA Jam, obviously, that was huge. Is it the shoes? You know what I'm saying? Was he's on fire? Like that was, man, just going back and forth with people on that was always like crazy amount of fun. Yeah, exactly. They put in all the codes so I could be the little cheat dude so that that had the highest stats. We're like, man, that ain't fair. Like, so we did all that. And then I went through a couple other ones, some stuff in the later part of the generation, Rock and Roll Racing, which some people will have played, maybe not. That was like a little gem I found when I went to like this like mom and pop shop randomly and ended up picking it up after a friend of mine recommended it, and I loved it. And then Comic Zone was big. A lot of people had played Comic Zone.
Yep.
That was dope because you could just, the way it was like you were running through a comic and tearing the screen, when you'd go over to the next section and stuff. And that was crazy. So to me, like that was something I had never really seen before. I also had played Vector Man, which was like, that was kind of like their, answer to, Mega Man or something. You know what I mean? Vector Man was just the little side scrolling dude. You would, shoot the little pellets and get upgrades across the screen and stuff like that. It was my jam back in the day though. So I played that quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably like my biggest stuff. Obviously, Street Fighter and stuff. Eventually, that was actually funny enough. That was the reason I had a Super Nintendo in tandem, because Street Fighter was one of their biggest things over there. So it was kind of weird how having both like that. But yeah, Streets of Rage was also huge.
Big time.
You can't forget Streets of Rage.
I don't know anybody that had a Genesis that didn't rock with that.
Absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not. That was too big. And then obviously, of course, you had to get Mortal Kombat on there because you had to get the one with the blood. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, I was very thankful. My mom did not care. So yeah,
SNES was nice, but it wasn't not for Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, not for Mortal Kombat. So yeah, that was probably like the main stuff with it. Obviously, I played Sonic that came with it. You know what I'm saying, type of stuff.
Right.
So Sonic 2 was probably the main one. Yeah, not for sale. Yeah, so
not for resale or something. Whatever that shit said in the front.
Yeah, when you would get it and they were like, "Nah, you can't resell this." But yeah, I had that, and then I had the little joint that you got up there, like you mentioned, the little tower. Eventually, you put it on top, and then I had the stack
in the CD.
Yeah, and then you would open it up, and then you could put the one on top of the Knuckles, the Sonic and Knuckles.
Yes,
you
sir.
To make it go higher. So yeah, your console looked kind of ridiculous at some point, but it was dope.
Yeah, it should look like those thick version of Legos, right?
Exactly.
The big old Legos. I forgot what those suckers are called, but yeah, it shit just looked absolutely wild. But love to hear like I love you had the opportunity to get into the Genesis and whatnot. But did you say you had a CD or was it just the 32?
So I didn't. I had the 32, the stack, but I didn't get the CD. So I didn't get the CD, and then I did like after that was like my extent with Sega at that point. Like so, I went Super Nintendo because, like I said, I also had a Super Nintendo, so I was kind of back and forth between those two, and then from then it was basically straight into N64 after those two. So
what? He went straight into. See, I didn't see that turn coming.
Yeah,
this man, because this was like the birth of the CD-ROM in gaming, right? So Sega CD was obviously like a very like immature version of it. Just kind of like it seemed like Sega was just kind of trying something. Right?
Exactly.
It really that whole generation. It seemed like they were just kind of trying something.
Exactly.
But as things progress, the Saturn, the Atari Jaguar, the 3DO.
So I did get to play the Jaguar, which was crazy because that joint was mad expensive. It wasn't mine. One of my homies at school had it and asked me, I finally got to spend a night at his crib one time and I got to play it. I couldn't believe he had it because at the time it was like $700. Like it was mad.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly. That's why nobody had it.
$700. I'm sitting here tripping about this SpongeBob Xbox and they over there rocking with the Jaguar for $700.
Yes, I could not believe it. That's why I couldn't believe he had it, bro. I was like, "You really got one of those?" I was like, "Bro, I got to come to your house, bro. I gotta play this thing." Like, and I honestly, it was so brief. Like I said, it was only that one time, but it was so crazy, and I've never met another person that had a Jaguar since then. It was crazy.
What'd y'all play?
Yep. Man, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even remember. Whatever was hot, it was so brief. Like it was just one night I spent the night. We played, and I don't even remember what it was. It was fire, but it wasn't like I didn't leave. Like y'all got to get me one of these. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like,
you already knew that was off the table.
Yeah, that was off the table. Yeah, mom wasn't playing that. I was still shocked when I got the PS3 for $600. So that was years later. So that tells you plenty.
Yeah. That wasn't even a suggestion to the parents.
Exactly.
It was just like, all right, well, that was nice.
Yeah, that was fun. That was cool.
Go play my cheap shit.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna head back, you know what I'm saying? But that was cool.
That's what's up.
But
That's
yeah.
what's up.
But yeah, like you
So
said, the CD and stuff, I didn't get
yeah,
into it.
yeah. So you know the original PlayStation, the Jaguar, the 3DO, the Sega Saturn. You decided to
Mhm.
stick with the cartridges with the 64. What
So I
game? What
had
what made you take that decision?
so what it was for me was just honestly Mario 64 pulled me in when that dropped. That was still really big
That
for me
teaser
back
was
then.
hot.
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy, and it was just the music, man, the way everything just kind of just was pushed together and everything, and then the Diddy Kong racing and the like
Yo,
everything, man,
the
it
three
was.
ways to drive, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Boat, car, or flight.
Yeah, man, it
It was
was
hot with
awesome,
the little
man.
doors with the numbers. You had to earn your stripes to be
You
able
have to
to go
earn
to
it.
the next race.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, so it was that obviously 007 GoldenEye.
Mm.
That was crazy. The amount of man, don't be screen peeking, that I heard during the time we would play that was crazy. We tried it all, cut the cardboard to try and split the screen. Like we tried,
Oh
put the
yeah,
blanket, what I'm saying, tape the blanket to the screen so the person on the bottom couldn't see the top screen. Like we did it
facts.
all. Yeah.
Those were
So
especially once you got into like football games and stuff like that. It shit got real out there.
mhm.
I loved the stupid little modes that you could do in GoldenEye back in those days where you could like do paintball, slappers
Oh yeah, yeah.
only. And people would get odd job and be trying to be cheap and shit because that motherfucker was like a foot and a half tall.
Yeah, yeah. All the little
Yeah, you
cheat,
remember
whatever
you
you could
remember
do to
odd
win.
job.
Yeah, anything you could do to win, man.
Yep, yep,
Gold guns
yep. It
on,
was
gold guns
by all
only.
means necessary in that game.
Hmm. Yeah, man. It was
Golden
things used to get
guns,
heat.
man. I just remember all those joints, man. That shit was fun, man.
Yeah, it was.
I think my favorite one was my favorite level might have been the complex, I want to say. Trying to
The comp.
remember some of
Okay,
these levels.
you talking about the joint that was like multi-leveled?
Yeah, and they had the
Yeah, yeah.
doors. You had to hit B to, open the doors and slide sideways and shit like that.
Yep.
There was that level, and then there was also that like sand colored level where like the doors were like these big old blocks that like rose up and like you could go left, right, or
Okay. Yeah,
forward.
I got you.
And then that top area had that big old hole where you could
Yeah,
look down and see people running
yeah. I know
around.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those levels were hot, man. Those
Yeah,
levels were hot. So,
they
so,
did
so
some incredible
64,
design.
64. So GoldenEye, Diddy Kong Racing, Mario, obviously, because that sucker was hot. Um,
Absolutely.
what did you? I gotta ask because not. I don't feel like a lot of people talk about it. But were you into sports games back in those times?
So at that time, I definitely was. So uh I I did so I know I said the 64, but I also had the PlayStation. So I was lucky for both of those again.
Oh, you
So
rich.
game so I yeah. Yo, everybody always says that when I had both. Nah, nah.
I got that
Pops
from
was
my
just the
brother. He'd always say that shit to me
yeah.
too.
Don't worry, my older brother gave me all the smoke. Oh, you lucky you got that, you
Right?
know.
My brother
But
13 years older, so he was definitely giving me, oh yeah, you got two systems, you think you big shit, bro.
yeah,
Man,
yeah, that was
I
definitely
got
my
my ass whipped by him a couple times just because he
yeah,
thought
my
just
older
because he
my older
thought I was
brother
getting
kept me
treated a
challenged.
little too good.
Yeah. Yeah, they always hit you with that. And it's like, nah, I was the better child. I was like, mama loved me more. Don't worry about that.
That's respect.
But yeah, man. Game day was big. Playing game day with the squad back in the day. I was heavy in game day, NBA live, of course.
Oh, for
So
sure.
like yeah, back then I was heavy into that stuff. And then obviously much considerably later, you had of course the offshoots. Of course you had Blitz early on,
Mhm.
so I was into that too. And then of course later on in the generations you had NBA Street and NFL
Oh,
Street
facts.
and stuff like that, and those were fire. I love those every time they came out. So yeah, I mean, I played it for a real long time, even Madden up to like honestly, I think I played Madden up to like 2014, and then I just kind of stopped. But yeah, like I was into sports games pretty heavy. I played live literally until they until NBA 2K killed them. So live
Yeah,
was
until
my
they got
jam.
buried.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got buried bad. It was not a good look.
It was
I'm
not.
still I'm still out here putting out hope that there is another basketball game in the works coming from them. I'm hoping so much because I really miss the days. I mean, you come from those times as well when
Mhm.
we would have like 6 or 7 different companies making different type of basketball or football games, golf games. I mean, you had
Yeah.
the tennis, track and field. Track and field was usually made by just one, but for sure, like you remember Deion Sanders had his own game.
Mhm.
Whatchamacallit, Chris Berman was on the Sunday night ESPN football. They had John
They
Madden, Joe
yeah,
Montana,
the Larry Bird versus Jordan.
Larry Bird versus Jordan, Larry Bird versus Magic, the NBA playoffs, Bulls versus or not Bulls versus Celtics, Bulls versus Lakers, and Boston versus the Lakers and stuff like that. They had those old school games and whatnot.
Mhm.
Progressing into the disc games, I remember In the Zone.
Yeah.
Um, in the Zone basketball came in the long PlayStation
The
cases.
long I remember those.
Oh yeah, man. I remember those suckers absolutely. As you
I,
said, game day.
yep.
My favorite game day to this day is still 98 with Jerome Bettis on the
98 was
cover.
fire. 98 was fire.
Talk
Yeah.
about a first and 10 on the 32-yard line. Like
Yep.
I'll never forget the announcer in that game, bro. Yeah, yeah, like I said, Game Breaker was hot back then. Um, yeah, man. I mean, there was just a ton of competition in sports games, and I think that is kind of part of the downfall in sports games nowadays, and why people are kind of. I mean, every single sports game that comes out gets a bad rating. Every
Yeah.
single one, and it's because it's the only one. So
It's
it's
like
just
yeah, it's
like
the
nobody appreciates shit.
true. And it's like I mean, to the point where like I talked about this, which was funny. My best friend is in the chat, Morgan. I see you. Uh
Yeah,
nah,
there
but
she
I
is
was
right there.
talking to her about this, and it was like the NBA 2K people, that's all they got. So it's like if y'all pick it up regardless, even if they do y'all wrong or y'all not feeling what they do, you know what I'm saying, in the game, and y'all pick it up anyway and it sells regardless, they're not gonna change up how they doing y'all. I,
Right.
I I heard big complaints, like people going off, like I'm quitting this game. People who literally stream that game exclusively, like, and they get numbers, you know what I'm saying, streaming this game, and they were like, the last one that had came out prior to this one, like people were just going crazy. Y'all, I'm about to swear this game off forever. And it's like, yeah, but like realistically, they know they like, but where you gonna go though? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, ain't nobody else out here challenging me. So yeah, I
Like in
completely
football, it's
agree
like,
with
what you
that.
gonna play? Axis football? You
Exactly.
gonna play Doug Flutie's game? Get the fuck out of here. No, you ain't. You gonna play
Exactly. They
Madden.
they already
That's
know.
the only
Yeah.
choice you got.
Yep. So yeah, I mean,
Sad. I don't
it
like
sucks.
that shit.
Yeah, man, it sucks for them, but it goes to show you, like, this is why we constantly tell people competition is important, bro. Because it's like they ain't gonna strive to do you better or entice you for a reason to come over there if they don't got to. Like, I mean, that's just the reality.
Yep, it's the only thing.
I've
I
been
mean, it's just like gas, right?
hmm
if you if all all these fools got is unleaded, right? I mean, there ain't nothing else to do. You got to hit the gas station. You got to pay them nasty prices. It might be $5 a gallon or something like that. But what else you gonna do?
exactly. It's funny you mention that because I just got gas and I was complaining about it going up.
Oh man, you have to wait until Christmas time for it to go back down.
Yo, not so Christmas, bro. Oh
You
man.
know how that's worked. You know the. I swear it feels like the government's just like, oh yeah, we know y'all spending more money in these stores and whatnot, so go ahead and get some cheap gas for right now.
Yeah, we got you for
Yeah,
now.
yeah, we
You
got you
know,
just for a month.
we're gonna get that back around tax time.
Right, facts. All right, man. So the original PlayStation, 64 Genesis. That's what we've talked about so far. What was the next development? And in fact, I'm scratch that question. I want you
Okay.
to tell me what was the first system, and you can go backwards if you want to.
Okay.
What was the first system that you got and you were just like, this changed my life right here. This right here is over the top.
So yeah, that's the easy answer for me. Because I've said this before on Twitter and so on and so forth. It was PlayStation, man.
The original?
The original PlayStation, the OG,
Okay.
man. Long boxes and all, like you said, the DVD
Yes,
box
sir.
and the whole nine. That was it, man. Like I got that thing, Warhawk, Jet Moto, you know what I'm
Jet
saying?
Moto. Oh man, you don't know how long I played that game without using the little beam that helps you
Yeah,
turn.
the
I
boost.
played that game, I swear, for like 2 months before I realized that, oh, this thing is helping me turn. I was wondering, why the
Yeah.
hell am I always coming in last? I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
I can't. The turning in this game is ass, and I'm sitting there
You're like,
seeing
yo,
these like
everybody
weird
killing
beams
me.
from other folks, and I just,
Yeah.
I'm a little kid. I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, I just suck. This game sucks.
That's fair. That's fair.
And then I realized what it was and whatnot, and I was just like, oh, this game's actually pretty hot. This game's
Yeah.
real hot. That and Wipeout.
Okay. Yeah.
Both of those games
Wipeout.
were pretty hot. Once you figured out how to play them, because Wipeout wasn't no punk either.
Yeah, Wipeout was tough, man. Wipeout, like you really had to concentrate. Like somebody couldn't interrupt you like mid-turn because you was going, yeah, you was over. So yeah, Wipeout was
Bro,
tough.
it was like stressful when it gets fast in Tetris.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that
Absolutely.
was yeah, man. PlayStation was like I always try to describe to people. I'm like, PlayStation was when like I was like, I'm gonna do this for life. Like, this is it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I discovered different genres and things that I had never seen before. It's not that they didn't exist. It's just like that was my introduction to them. I still remember, I mean, obviously you could see the name, the portion that I put on top of my name, which is JRPG Enate, you know what I mean, on Twitter. And my first exposure to that was actually Final Fantasy VIII. And I actually was so random. My older brother doesn't even play these games. That's what's crazy. This was like divine intervention. Like, you have no idea. But to this day, my brother does not play these games. But he was like, hey, we're going to go get this game at midnight and we're going to get the strategy guide. And I was like, of course, I was like, bet. Like, I don't want to go to bed.
Right?
Like, I was still young. So I was like 12.
You're like, say less.
Yeah, cool. We're going to sneak out at midnight. Absolutely. So, we got in the car, went to Walmart, picked it up, got the strategy guide, and I was like, Final Fantasy VIII. I was like, man, this strategy guide looks dope though. Like, I don't know what's about to happen. And we got home.
Thick back in the day, bro.
Man, I'm telling you, bro, I crazy. And I was like doing my thing. I was the guide while he was playing. So I was opening it up, like, all right, where we going next? You know what I'm saying? So we were just into it. And he popped it. He popped it in. Bro, I'm telling you, like I was into it, bro. I was so hyped. I was never so excited to not be playing a game at the moment. Like,
that's
it was
an excellent
crazy.
Bonding moment too, man.
It was. It was. And I never forget it. You know what I'm saying? I remember it vividly to this day. And like I remember starting it up and just the first sequence and the cinematography, I was like, what is this? Like, oh, this is I immediately knew it was something different, something I never played, something I'd never come across. Like, I was like, oh, this is next level. The cinematics, the way the fight sequence in the beginning, it was stuff flying. I don't know. I was like, what is this? Like a dream sequence? Like, what is happening? Like, it's the ocean and the desert all in one, and then they scrapping, they going at each other. Like, it was magic flying. I was like, oh yeah, I want all this. What is happening? And then it goes into the sequence later where you're introduced into the academy and everything that was going on, and just like this whole story and this world building was unlike anything I had ever played before. And I was just like, yeah, this is I want all of this for life. Where the rest of these games at? Like, I was like, is this the only game that's like this? And I looked into everything on it. I was on Game Facts. You know what I'm saying? Everybody at one point was on Game Facts, printing stuff out at school. They know they ain't had no business printing out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Teachers asking what you doing. You're like, None.
Yeah, don't even worry
You
about that
wasting
60.
paper.
Don't even worry
You
about that
wasting
60.
paper.
Yeah.
Telling you.
Exactly.
Or you wasting ink, one of the two.
Yeah, don't worry about that 60-page document coming out right there. I got
Facts. Mind your business.
that. So yeah, man, that was a huge turning point for me. Like I said, that's when I discovered JRPGs in
Probably got into
general.
like Legends of Legaia or Legia or whatever that one's
Yeah,
called. And
which is Legend of Legaia, which is my third favorite game of all time.
there it
So
is.
yeah, there it is. Yeah. So
That
Legend of
see,
Legaia
that's
and
my
all that,
cousin.
man.
That's like one of my cousin's favorite games of all time, and he always, because back then I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I wasn't
Mhm.
into turn-based games at all, but my
Okay. Yep.
cousin was mad into Final Fantasy, and he was into um Legends of Legaia.
Hmm.
Huh, real tough. And those were like the big, thick games that come with multiple discs and whatnot. Man,
Yep.
I looked at that sucker. I was like, man, I ain't got time for all that shit. I'm all set. This is the type of shit I was rocking with right there. Speed punks. That's what I
Okay.
was rocking with. Games like Speed Punks. I was a I liked my goofy ass games like Space Jam back in the day. You gotta get all Jordan shoes and whatnot. Um, I liked all types of games. Ridge Racer, of
Yeah,
course.
I played
Um,
Ridge Racer to death.
uh,
Yeah.
I was still on the Road Rash scene, so Road Rash Jailbreak and Road Rash 3D were
Yeah,
my
I was
games as
excited. I was
well.
excited when those made their debut on there. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I was still big into that too. And like you said, Ridge Racer. I actually, funny enough, I remember crying for Ridge Racer 4 because we went to the mall to pick it
R4.
up.
Yep, that
Yeah,
double disc.
R4. Yeah, we went to the mall to pick it up for my birthday, and then we left the store, but we didn't get the game. And I was so lost. I was like, what are we doing? We came to the mall to get the game. So I was like, but then we were walking around and my cousin's dad like dipped. Like he went missing. Like we had to walk around the mall for like 30 minutes before we found this man. So he's like, all right, you guys ready to go? And I was like, excuse me? Like, like why we
Oh, they
but we're
messing with you.
yeah, he's messing with me. So we get to the car. I'm already crying. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, trying not to, oh, yeah, I'm good, and we get to the car. And of course,
Yeah, them
I
black
was sitting in the back,
families, man. They so disrespectful, bro.
bro, messing with me, bro. I was so upset, bro. I was just trying not to just ball out crying, bro. And then I still remember the car. He had an Eclipse, like a 95 Eclipse.
Oh,
And so,
baller.
I had to sit in the back. So, you got to push your seat forward because it was just a two-seater. And then the
Yeah.
back seat was the GameStop bag, or in this case, the EB Games bag.
Yes, sir.
And Ridge Racer 4 was in there. And I was like, man, you did all this to mess with me.
Yes, he did.
So yeah,
That's
he had
black
me
folks
show him
for
the
you,
game.
bro.
Yeah, had me show him the game, and then we left. Like he wasn't gonna get it, and then it was in the car. I played that game to death that summer. You could not escape Ridge Racer, and if I wasn't doing that, I was listening to Ridge Racer and J Lo's album. Like I'm telling you, I was. Yeah, I had. There's actually I have
Whose
a
album?
picture. J Lo, I'm telling you,
Oh
this
man,
was before.
this
This is before
I
she was
got some
called J Lo.
soul.
She was actually called Jennifer Lopez at the time. Her whole name. But yeah, there's
My
actually an
love
image
don't
that I
cost
have
nothing.
when you can see I was dancing. Like they took a picture, what I'm saying? I had my hands up. I was dancing because I just want to race, and I was listening to J Lo on the CD player. But you can see I got the CD player with me, so I was listening to it while I was playing Ridge Racer, and my cousin was on the couch. Like, so yeah, I have, man, the memories on that were crazy.
So I
But
know
yeah,
you must have had memories, and I want you to tell me which one was your favorite when you think of this title, Twisted Metal.
you said Twisted Metal.
Yes, sir.
Twisted Metal would definitely be funny enough. I bonded a lot with my younger brother playing Twisted Metal. Um, funny enough, we didn't play it the traditional way. Funny enough, though, we actually made up something, which is something kids did a lot back then. I know. I'm gonna
True.
explain. So Twisted Metal 2 specifically, we would load into the stage and you could just get rid of the NPCs. And so
Right.
you know how kids would play with like micro machines and stuff, and have like meetups and stuff. So we would just kind of play like the world was regular.
Oh,
as
I've done
our
that,
character.
yes.
Yeah.
You're giving me flashbacks, bro.
Yeah.
I'll meet you
You're
on the
like,
corner up here.
yeah, exactly. Like, yo, I'm gonna go to the grocery store real quick, then I'm gonna ride back over there. Like, so me and my younger brother did that a ton, man, and just picked the different cars and play a Spectre or whoever and ride
Was
around the different because the different cities because some of them were like real residential. So there was one
mhm.
that was like extremely residential or like the map that was Paris or
Paris,
whatever, that
yep,
kind of
with the Eiffel
stuff.
Tower.
So exactly, like, yo, I'm gonna go over here and get some coffee. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, we used to just, you could always play the normal game, and we would just, yeah, we did that too. But like that was like probably like the most fun that we had. We did that for hours. My mom would just be like, "What are y'all doing? That y'all just in here for hours, just forgetting to eat?" You know what I'm saying? It just, I don't know. We just having fun. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
That's what
was
these
that was
kids
probably
today
the
be
best.
doing with, like, Minecraft and whatnot. Same
Exactly,
shit.
exactly. Yep. Yeah,
Same
they
shit.
just got
It don't make no sense as adults looking at it now like, "Man, you've been sitting around doing the same sh like, what are you doing? Like, you want me to show you how to play this game?" You're like, "I know how to play this game."
yeah.
Alright.
Yep.
In reality, we were the same way back then. We were the
Yeah.
same way. I used to do that with all sorts of different games. With Grand Theft Auto, when it was a top down, right? They
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
London, they got GTA 2, and they had those goofy ass shits and whatnot. Like me and my boy would be playing and we'd take turns, but we'd act like
Yeah.
we live it, right? So I mean that joint was fun doing that. Um Gran Turismo, man, that was a goddamn problem for me.
Yeah.
Not the original. The original Gran Turismo was aight to me. But Gran
Okay.
Turismo 2,
You got turned up on that, huh?
man, I was doing endurance races in that game, bro. I got some weird ass van that goes
Hmm.
like 200 plus miles an hour. I
Oh,
got
that
this
was fun.
yeah, I got that off of like I think it was like off of like a I don't know. I think it was a pretty easy race that I got it on, but that sucker
Hmm.
took a few hours
Yeah.
to do that. I also got the best car in the game, the Escudo Pikes Peak.
The Escudo Pikes
The
Peak.
man, yeah, you could set that sucker up to where it do
It would fly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, I used to
Oh
make
yeah.
that sucker jump.
Yep.
Man, that game was so hot to me because you could get the cars from all over the world and they had such a large variety. Even newer car games that came out wasn't touching Gran
Yeah. I
Turismo.
agree. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Gran
saying? And I'm
Turismo.
talking about like PS2 newer games and Dreamcast games and in like Xbox with Sega GT 2002. They didn't even
Yeah.
have near the amount of cars as a Gran Turismo 2 did.
Yeah. Gran Turismo was insane with over 500. It was insane. I loved it, and I can definitely coincide with what you were saying. And this is another one I'll give to my older brother. He got Gran Turismo first, and I didn't really know what it was. And then he finally let me play it one time, and it got to the point where like he didn't want me to play it, when he wasn't there, which I knew meant that I was gonna play it very little. So what I would do is I got smart. So when he would go up the street to hang out with the squad, I would go in his room, open the blinds enough so I could see out the front, and then I
You
put
see when
my
he
memory
coming?
card exactly so I could see when he was coming. So I put my memory card in his PlayStation so I could play it in his room. So all I had to do was swap the memory cards and turn it off. Yeah, but that's how bad I wanted to play Gran Turismo back then.
He walking in there
So
like, why my controller warm?
yeah, he
Why it
almost
all
caught
wet and
me.
sweaty?
Yeah, he almost caught me a couple times, but I was like, hey, look, eventually I was like, I saved him a couple times later on during, Gran Turismo 2 when I came home from school one day and he actually passed out during an endurance race. And
Oh
I
shit.
dropped my bag and I picked up the controller and I caught back up and I won the race. And then I
Oh
woke him up
shit.
and was like, you was in last place. You got lapped like 6 times and I still won the race for you. So he stopped giving me crap after that. I was like, see, I helped you out. But yeah, we had some crazy rivalries and stuff in that, man. Tuning cars, and he'd be
Mm.
like, "What you got? Bring this over, bring that." between that and Need for Speed High Stakes, which was crazy because
Oh,
if you remember High Stakes, it took your car when you bet pink slips, it took it off your memory card. So when you was like, yo, let's run it, you know what I mean? Like, hey, that car you put all your heart and soul and all that money into, that Porsche you love so much, like, you got to come back. You got to earn that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
back to the drawing
so,
board.
yep. So, yeah, it was so much fun, man. The PlayStation just was such a discovery moment for me, man. Between that and even some people don't even know this game was on there, but the original Command and Conquer,
Mm.
I
Yeah, it's a
discovered that
double
on
disc.
there
It
too.
was another. It
Yep.
was another double disc game. Yep.
Exactly. It's a double disc. Exactly. So then if you had the link cable and two TVs, then you could play against each other.
I
So
didn't know that.
yeah, so that joint was crazy. So we actually went to a spot that had it. It was a spot called Buy Right. They eventually got bought out by EB Games, but Buy Right was dope because they had all the stuff that you didn't really know really existed that was kind of underground. They also had the mod chips, you know what I'm saying? So you could play the Japanese games that you put in the back of the PlayStation.
Let's talk
Yeah,
about it, bruh.
yeah,
Let's talk,
yeah,
man. This right here.
yeah.
This right here is my favorite joint that I had.
Hey, oh,
Right
that is in
here,
beautiful
Dragon
condition,
Ball
bro.
Legends.
I love it.
Bruh. This was like the first one that you could like fly around and do battles, and you had multiple people on your team. Like
Mhm.
it was like, you know, just like a big time jumping
It was.
constantly of
It
like
was.
it's you and like three other it's like I'm Goku, I got Gohan, I got Krillin, and I got Piccolo, and we washing away Nap. We washing away Nappa, and then Vegeta come through. We you beat him, and then you go to Namek, and then you got
Mhm.
Chase and Berta, and you got Goku and Gohan and Vegeta is on your squad now. Yo, that game was so fucking wild, bro. And it
It
had the little
was.
cutscenes in between, that little slid by, and they talked in
Yep.
Japanese. I had no idea what the fuck they was saying, but I was like, I know the story, so it don't matter.
Exactly. Yeah, once you got the
Shit
button
was
prompts
hot.
down, you were good to go, man. And it was like you was that guy if you had the mod chip at school because
Yes,
everybody ain't
sir.
had that. So
I had the spring. I had to use like a little spring in a game. Goddamn, what is it called? It was like a Game Shark type of thing where I had to put in a special memory card, and I
yeah,
had to put a spring in there, and then I put the disc in, and then it'd tell me to eject the disc out, right? But that
yeah.
spring would keep it from
From
thinking that
actually,
I opened up the disc because yeah, you know
yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about,
Yep,
right?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was the
this
other that
was
was the other method. Yeah.
mm-hmm. But now I just flat out have a original PlayStation Japanese version now at
That's
this time,
dope. That's dope.
which is pretty cool. I got it for like $50. I was like, shit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it came with a controller and a memory card, and I was like, I'm all set. All I
That's
need to
what's
do is
up.
go cop some games now. Like hot, real
Oh,
hot.
there we
I
go.
also remember the other Dragon Ball Z game, Final Bout.
Yes. Yes.
That game was ass. I
Yeah.
was I was not a fan of that game. I thought that was the worst Dragon Ball Z game that I've probably played up until maybe the PlayStation 2 or 360. I don't know. I didn't like it. It was rough. You only had like 10 characters in that game.
Yeah,
You
it,
had
it definitely was
like
not a step up.
yeah, you had like 5 different Gokus, but one Vegeta, one
Yeah.
Gohan. Like, yeah, it was stupid. The coolest
Yeah.
character you got in that game was Vegito, though.
True. True. I do remember
But you
that one.
fought Big Baby at the end, and that was like a pain in the ass to fight because you're like hitting him every time, but he ain't getting hurt. Like
Yeah.
it was a pain in the ass fighting that dude. But anyways, we've been kicking it on the PlayStation. We've been reminiscing on that
Absolutely.
PlayStation. It was such a good time. Legacy of Kane. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, Metal Gear Solid. I
Mm,
mean,
talk.
there's so much stuff that it's hard for people to really realize what that meant. Like I said, my other favorite, Xenogears. Um, which again is just, it's hard to even explain to people how that goes down, because by today's standards, you know what I'm saying, kids will never discover games the way that we did back then. You know, I remember explaining to people how I found my favorite game of all time, and it was like, it was my birthday, and I went to Kmart, which most people don't even know. Yeah. Yeah. So you
Yeah,
already
man.
know.
That's where I got my tape of Marshall Matters LP, and I had no idea it was
There you
edited.
go. Y'all
But
act
it
like
was a
y'all ain't never
tape.
seen a white person before. Jaw's on the floor like Pam and
No,
Tommy just bursting the
that shit
door.
was
Yes,
hard.
I know. I know. Trust me. Yes. So yeah, I was all of that. Um, but yeah, man, I went in there and all I seen is crazy because the Xenogears cover is plain. It just says the word Xenogears and it's a white background. The version that I had, and
And
but it
I mean,
says
that's how you know it's probably fire.
that's
They
yeah,
ain't,
that's how
they ain't got to
yeah.
say too much.
Gotta say much, but I saw it says Squaresoft on the bottom, and that's all I needed to know. I want that, and I picked that. He took it out the case, took it to the front, cashed it out, and to this day, I think I have now beat it about 56 or 57 times.
Ugh,
Uh, yeah, bro, I
they got a
love that
problem.
game. Love that game. I have a copy. Eventually, when I got a little older, I finally realized, all right, this is so special to me. I gotta see if I can find one before they get too expensive. And I have one that's unopened, that's still sealed. So yeah, I still
That's
got
some
like
money
a
right there,
OG.
bro.
Yeah. Yeah, that
That's
was
some money.
fire. So yeah, man, PlayStation just so many things, man. Parasite Eve, like you said, the original Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill for a lot of people, specifically
Resident
Resident
Evil.
Evil. Bro, Resident Evil, I still remember Resident Evil 2 bringing it down to my cousins for Thanksgiving, and we was all piled on the bed, and my brother was playing, and it's just we just all on the bed like bunch of cousins, just like, yo, what's about to happen? And he walks past that spot where the dog jumps out of the glass, but it's double sided, so you can't see it. We all fell off the bed. Like it was crazy. Like just everybody got scared immediately.
Hell yeah.
And so yeah,
The,
man,
the the
it's
the
just
the
so many
way
good
they
stories.
did the running and moving around, like
Hmm.
when something wild like the dog jumps through the window, you're running the wrong directions and shit. You're like, oh my god. All you knew to do was to run in circles.
Yeah,
It's just
just
like I
run,
you
just
just try to
run.
run in circles and kill this
Yep.
motherfucker.
Yeah, so my
Just doing
brother's still
anything to
trying to
survive.
concentrate because he got the control while we all, oh my God. And like we're all rolling on the ground and fell off, fell all over each other. And we're just everybody immediately just freaked out. It was just so funny, bro. But
Mm.
yeah, so many good memories, man, on the PlayStation, man. 1998 specifically was just crazy for gaming, man. It was just so many franchises got started. Uh, just I was lucky and glad to be able to be there to experience it, man. It's like I'll, we've got some good years since then, but like I'm not sure anything will ever start that many franchises, again. Like it was just legendary. So yeah, PlayStation was it, man.
Well, now we're hitting the next generation, and then, games are still flying, right? Like PS2, GameCube, OG Xbox, each one of them had a slapper on it.
Hmm.
um, from pretty much the beginning to end of that console generation. I want you to talk about that generation for me real quick. Like, what was popping for you? I'm gonna assume the PlayStation 2 was, because I mean that was like the do it all console
Yeah.
that came out first before the others did. Or but let me actually take it a step back, because I had a person in the chat ask me a little bit ago.
Hmm.
Where was it at? I believe it was I want to say it was a doula that asked the question a little bit ago. But somebody asked about Dreamcast. Were you a Dreamcast connoisseur back then? Or not?
So yeah, I was so there's a funny story about the Dreamcast. Uh
Oh, it's Viper. I'm sorry, it's Viper.
yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Nah, we had one in the house, but it wasn't mine, but I'll explain why. Because I was gonna get one, but I did something really bad before that Christmas. And my mom, as a punishment, told me that I was gonna get a Dreamcast, and then she took that money and bought something else.
It
Yeah,
wasn't funny back then.
it wasn't funny back then. It wasn't funny back then. But I knew I did it. I did it honestly. I tried to think of 100 reasons, man. I wish I had a dog back then because I'd have blamed it on the dog or something. But the one thing my mom couldn't pick out for me back then, because it was too complicated, was Pokemon cards. So she took me with her to go pick out the Pokemon cards. So I convinced her, like, it's cool. I won't open it before Christmas. Like, it's fine. And just leave them here and I'll just open them on Christmas. So, of course, I was way too hype. And I kept rubbing the plastic, and eventually, it started to tear a bit. And I was like, what's a little more of a tear? You know, is she gonna really notice? What if I tear it on the back? Now I'm starting to be that kid. How much can I get away with?
Yeah.
And of course, I couldn't get away with it. And she found out.
The times when we
That's
thought we were smarter than the parents, but we really weren't.
exactly. Yeah, my mom was like, okay, I see. So she was like, that's when she told me that Christmas, because I was like, wait a minute, I feel like something's missing here. And that's what she told me before Christmas. She was like, well, you were gonna get a Dreamcast, but I forgot what she did with it, but she was like, I'm gonna take that money and I'm gonna go buy, this, and this for myself, like some purse or something she wanted. I don't know, whatever it was. Well, it wasn't to me as a kid, it was more important than my Dreamcast.
Right.
But yeah, like I knew what I did. I did it honestly, and I cried about it for like 2 days. But
Oh,
I
for sure.
was
You
like,
ain't never gonna forget that shit.
yeah, ever. But thankfully, my older brother had a Dreamcast and one of my homies. So I still played the breaks off of Power Stone, Sonic, the Sonic Adventure joint, everything. So I got my chance to play it all the hot stuff, Fantasy Star. Um, I got a chance to play everything, regardless of the fact that I didn't have it. And I played PS2 was my main during that generation. I literally pre-ordered it, which is a story for that as well. My older brother is involved in a lot of this stuff early on. I pre-ordered mine before him, and he
Oh,
told
you
me when I got home.
pre-ordering shit now.
Oh yeah,
You big
I
dog
pre-ordered
now.
this. Yeah, I was hyped. I was ready for this, and everywhere I saved all my money, but ahead of time, I was ready for the PS2. So I pre-ordered it before him from EB Games, and so his didn't come in until later. So when I got home, he goes, "Yeah, I went and picked mine up. They said yours is gonna come in later." I was like, I thought that was suspicious because I was like, I'm pretty sure I pre-ordered before you. You know what I mean? But they know that he's my brother. So when I went to go pick mine up, when they called the house later, they called his name, and I was like, oh.
He big
I see
broed you.
what you did. Yeah, yeah. So, man, when I got home, I like to kick that door. I
He
was
said,
like,
I'm on demon time right now.
yeah, I thought you said that mine came in later. I knew I was right. I was so mad. He was like, man, it don't matter now. It's here now, ain't it? Like, but
Oh.
yeah, like I was so mad because he knew what he did, and he
Yeah,
knew
he
his
hit a
joint
lick
wasn't
on
coming
you.
in until later, and he didn't want to wait. So he picked mine up, talking about, yeah, yours came in later, and he didn't think they was gonna call the name. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's when I found out, and I was like, I was like, man, I gave him crap for that forever. After that, I was like, I was so heated, bro. I was so heated because I knew I was way more hyped than him, and I was like, oh, I know I pre-ordered before you, and you telling me mine came in later, that don't make no sense. But
That's just
yeah,
foul.
it was wild, man. Um,
Before
but
we
yeah.
move too much into the PlayStation 2, I want to go back to that Dreamcast and just ask you real quick
Mm-hmm.
because as your name reads, it's JRP Enate. You
Absolutely.
said you said that you did the whole Fantasy Star thing, but I gotta ask you about the most important RPG that was on. the Dreamcast, in my opinion, which
Okay.
was Shenmue.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I was gonna say we're gonna have a problem if you didn't play Shenmue.
Yeah, yeah, yo, I loved Shenmue. I loved Shenmue, bro. Yeah, Shenmue was awesome. Like the kung fu and learning it and coming back and smacking up the boss that probably beat you down before,
Mm-hmm.
learning their skills and stuff like that. Like, yeah, Shenmue was amazing. I wish it still felt as amazing as it did back then
Yeah, it's a
today,
little,
but
it
yeah,
man, not having a right stick is a problem now.
yes, yes.
Turning in that game, it feels like you're just driving a semi everywhere. It's tough.
Yeah, man.
I still have that game. I got a Dreamcast, and I love the game. I love the interactions. I love how things open and close, and people actually have
Mhm.
real lives within the game. Time is a real factor of it. You have a curfew as well. You
Yep.
got ways of practicing. You can practice your you can practice your art in the park, or you can go to your dojo, challenge your brother and stuff like that. And the story was hella deep too. You remember just turning on that game and getting it started. That first part is like 10-15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was
Learning about the story.
yeah, that was a crazy experience to kind of get that first glimpse when I played that game, because that was again one of those moments where you're like, "Oh, this is different." You know what I'm saying? This is I ain't never played nothing like this before.
You would have thought
And
the
that was
Dreamcast was there to stay seeing something like that.
exactly, exactly. So it was like, to me, it wasn't even a factor that, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't going to be there eventually, because there was so much good stuff like that on there. And then it was like I said, Shenmue was like transcendent, you know what I'm saying, at the time. Like, it was like, yo, this is crazy. You know, the fact that I can go through with this, I can go play at the arcade and the little Sega joint, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And just,
Hang
oh, it was
on
so
there
dope.
and whatnot. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I was already into like the anime and stuff. So like the kung fu, you know what I'm saying, was like crazy for me, because I was already like crazy into kung fu films and stuff. So
Oh
being
man,
able to
Jet
do
Li
that in the
back in the
game.
day, Jackie Chan, catching up on the fist of
Exactly.
fury that is Bruce Lee and the Chinese connection and
Hmm.
all that, man.
The
Man,
five deadly venoms, man. I watched everything, man.
talk about it, man. That shit
Yep.
was hot back in the day. It was some of that stuff was low quality, especially if you went way back in the day, like back in the Dolomite days. I'm talking.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
some of those were kind of rough,
You're
but
right.
like the fighting moments were pretty dope
They were. They were.
for
But you know, we
sure.
eventually got, Bruce Leroy. We
Yeah.
eventually got that. So
Get my man with the fro out there. Hey.
uh-huh.
I remember Black Samson, all those, all those
Mhm.
old school joints, man. That shit was wild. I really like Dolomite though. I thought Dolomite was hilarious. His fighting scenes were terrible, but like, but but the movie was just so funny and
It
whatnot.
was
Like
funny.
PD Wheatstraw, the and whatnot. That's man, good shit. Good times.
Absolutely.
Good times. All right. So let's go back to the PlayStation 2. They had phenomenal games. It's very much similar to the PlayStation 1 when it comes to like top-notch quality games. They
Mhm.
had a little bit more competition this time around, though, compared to the last generation. I mean, 64 was doing really good, but now they got Microsoft jumping in the game as well. PlayStation 2 did what it needed to do. It had, the games, it had the DVD player on it now. That was a
Yeah.
big reason for, getting your parents to buy it, because it's like, oh, you can buy that DVD player, mama, or you can get this, PlayStation 2. And
You're right.
I'm busy, and then when you want to watch a movie, I'll let you, you can play, or
That was
you do
definitely a
your
big
thing.
selling point.
Yeah, big
Yeah,
time selling point, because it's like the cheapest DVD player on the market.
it was. That was a brilliant way to get in there.
Facts, facts. But let's talk about some of the games that came out then. I mean, like there was some phenomenal games that came out, not just because I mean, I feel like a lot of people when they think of the PlayStation 2, they think of like, of course, like Metal Gear Solid and like Grand Theft Auto 3, because Grand Theft Auto 3, like that was like the Eminem of video games, right? It was
Yeah,
just absolutely a problem, and people trying to sue him and whatnot. It was just a big deal. But I want to hear from you. What was some of the dope PlayStation 2 games that not a lot of people talk about so much anymore?
Honestly, there was a real big gem for me back then, and this kind of started my push into strategy RPGs. I found a game randomly, so luckily, because it was really rare even back then, called Ring of Red,
Okay.
and it was a strategy RPG in like an alternate reality of like World War II, but instead at the time we started fighting with mechs. So you had like this alternate reality where now the whole thing that was going on was like, trying to steal the technology for whoever had the best mechs that was going around. And you were kind of like this rebel faction
Was it
fighting
like
for
a
like
Zone of the Enders
Japan.
kind of thing, or
No, so it's like they're more like heavy mechs. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like it takes like it's like a whole crew with them. The one person pilots it,
like a
but
bunch
it's
of
like
big
when
O's?
yeah, yeah, just like like when they walk, the ground shakes and it's just heavy. You know what I mean? And they once they get into position, you face off. But the cool thing was once you battled and marked the person for battle, it went into a sequence and you would gradually approach each other, walking towards each other like a standoff.
Oh shit!
And depending on the way you had your mech configured was all in how your aiming would work. So you had like the cannon on a lot of different ones, but you had bipedal ones. Then you also had ones that were, quadrupeds. So you could have, they would be more stable. And I had one that was like a sniper unit. So you would shoot them from much further. So depending on how much further you engage, then um, you would shoot them from much further away. But because it was a quadruped unit, it was much more stable. Then when it would get ready to shoot, it would plant all four down. And then you would start to look through the scope and it would bounce around and you would have to like depending if they were better, it would bounce a lot less, right? So it might just move a little bit. But the key was when they sucked and it would go all crazy. If you could then hit it right there, and it would like sling the shot out and just hit them right in the weak spot, bro. And it was so satisfying when you knew like the aim was terrible from the character, but because you were so good at the game, you would just nail it every time. And then you could also disable weapon systems on on theirs. So if you hit them in like maybe theirs was on their right arm and you would hit it, you could disable it and then they wouldn't be able to even shoot you back. So like it was crazy.
Yeah,
So that was
that's
definitely
wild. That's pretty innovative for that time.
exactly. Like that was an insane one that I had found. So I was super lucky for that one. Uh Another one would as far as racing games go is Tokyo Extreme Racer Zero.
Yes.
Um that was my jam. I actually that was so rare by the time I really wanted to keep it. I told Blockbuster I lost it so that I could keep it. Hey, look, bro, I tried to look everywhere for that game.
I'm guilty of stuff like that as well, but I didn't work there. See,
Yeah. Hey,
and they
this
trying to
wasn't
charge
the
you
one
for
I
it, and I'm
worked
like,
at.
I ain't shopping here no more.
Yeah, this wasn't the one I worked at, thankfully. This was the one over by the college. So I was like, they don't know me over there. You know what I'm saying? So it was cool. Like, but yeah, that was Tokyo Extreme Racer Zero was amazing. Be it racing out on the Tokyo Expressway and stuff like that, just street racing, just pull up on somebody, flash your lights, hit the gas. Like that was just, I was like, oh man, this is it. Um, so I love that a lot. Um, I would say like too many. I did too many. I had another one that I did come across that a lot of people don't really know about. I've met, thankfully, because of Twitter, I've met a lot more people that have played these games. But
Sure.
there was one called Gladius, which
Yes.
was this was like another strategy joint, but you would play from the different houses or the schools, and you would you train up your different gladiators and go throughout the tournaments throughout the era. And eventually, your whole goal was to get to like the main kingdom and stuff, but like you fight all kinds of stuff. Like they have you in the arena fighting bears and huge other Viking type dudes and everything. Like that was another one that was really crazy that I was really happy to find. I actually recently found the emulator for it so I could play it on my PC, and it looks amazing. The emulator for PS2 is amazing. Um, so it's all HD and stuff like that now, and it looks crazy. And of course, as far as one that wasn't as rare, Gran Turismo 3 A Spec is legendary.
Yeah.
Uh, I love that game. Yeah, Gran Turismo was just it. Honestly, there wasn't a Gran Turismo I wasn't in love with until probably Sport. And that one kind
I
of threw
hear
me
that
off.
all the time. Sport really did a number on folks.
Yeah, yeah, that was the one, man. I loved all before that. Like I was playing Gran Turismo like crazy, and that was just the one. And then of
Okay.
course Metal Gear Solid 2 was amazing for me too. I loved Metal Gear Solid 2. I know a lot of people went crazy over that because they didn't want to play as Raiden or whatever. Uh
Sure.
which yeah, like you start the beginning jumping off the bridge and again that was the next level in like cinematography with Kojima just pulling some of the craziness, when Snake goes into his he goes into the cloak mode and jumps off the bridge and then it immediately breaks, when he slams down on the ship. Like it was just so engrossing. I probably played the demo like 20 times before the game even dropped, so I knew I was day one.
Oh man,
um
demos back in the day were hot.
mhm
You used to get
mhm
like the PlayStation Magazine demos back in the day, and
yep, PlayStation Underground.
yes,
Yep.
yes, the PlayStation Underground ones, and I remember Xbox had like demos on their games and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So like when you went to go play Halo, you could play like a Fusion Frenzy demo and
Yep, I do
whatnot
remember
on
that.
there.
I do remember that.
Yep.
That was
So
that was actually one of the dope joints I remember. Yep.
absolutely. I'd say like a pretty rare game that I don't hear anybody talk about anymore is Dark Cloud.
Okay, yeah, I could definitely see that. Like I said, Dark Cloud was big though. I enjoyed that a lot. Hold on, give me 1 second.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying this. Shout out to the 58 people out here watching the show right now. I appreciate you guys. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, hit that like button. And if you're enjoying this type of show, I do this type of stuff every Thursday. There'll be a couple times here in the near future that I can't do it because I'm going to be going to PAX East. So I won't be here that week, that week for the Thursday for Behind Them Sticks, but I have another few episodes already scheduled and ready to go for the few weeks after PAX and whatnot. So stay in tune with me. I'll definitely keep y'all updated on what's cracking on the channel and whatnot. Also, keep in mind that we do a little show tomorrow called Bull Sitting with me, Loke, Cozy, Beluga, Matt Likes Games, and we usually have a guest that comes through there and we just talk about all things game. We talk shit between each other, have some fun, talk a little bit of shit about Xbox, talk a little shit about PlayStation, talk a little shit about Nintendo every once in the blue moon. Talk shit about some PC gaming and whatnot. We're all over the place on that show, so y'all make sure to come through and check that out. But I'm definitely happy to have Enate here with us today on this show. It's been a phenomenal episode for sure. But anyways, let me go on ahead and talk to y'all real quick about this little thing that I've been playing. As of recently, I actually reviewed this little game. I'm gonna go back and see if I can find it real quick. I think it is, yeah, right here. I did a little review for this game you can check out on the channel if you want. It's only like $7.99. It's available on Xbox, PC, and PS5 the show. This game is called oh man, sorry. Whew, I was gonna sneeze real quick. Whew. Sorry about that. Yo. Anyways, yeah, this game phenomenal. Like I said, only about $7.99. I played the crap out of it for a little while. Good time. Make sure you guys go check that out. Did I even tell y'all the name of the damn game? My bad. My bad. My bad. Um, oh, shit. Oh man. Whew. Man, I am hot as a mug up in here. But anyway, Geometry
All right, I'm back.
Survivors is the name of the game, and man, Nate, I'm trying to keep back these damn sneezes. They just came out of nowhere right now, and
Nah, I know what you mean.
uh, I think it went away. I think it
Good.
went away. But yeah, this game right here, Geometry Survivors, pretty dope game. Reviewed it. I don't remember the names of the developer right off the top of my head, but it's like Brain something. Oh man, I should know this shit. I should know this shit. I just reviewed it just last week, but oh well.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to Nate, back to the episode of Behind Them Sticks today. You good to go now?
Yeah, I'm all good.
All right, cool. But we were just talking about the PlayStation 2, some of the rare games on it, or at least the games that people don't really talk about so much anymore.
Mhm.
Like another big game that I liked. It was big during the time, for
Mhm.
sure, but I liked it. Spy Hunter.
Okay, yeah. I
Back in the
played
day, I
Spy
thought that
Hunter.
game
I
was
played
hot
Spy
just
Hunter.
because you could be on your car turned into a boat or a motorcycle, or it was that
Yeah.
like car that looked like fucking, I don't know, Viper from the sci-fi movies back in the day. That
Yeah,
shit was
it
hot
was
right there.
the generic 007 game.
It really was, yeah.
But it was good though. It was good. It just wasn't 007. Like it was like they didn't have the license, so they called it something else, and it turned out to be really great. So yeah,
Yep.
Spy Hunter was a big one.
I think what was Stuntman on there? I want to say
Stuntman,
Stuntman.
yeah, I remember Stuntman.
Stuntman was hot. That game was real dope. I absolutely love that. But now let's talk about something other than the PlayStation 2. Did you happen to have any of the other consoles like the GameCube or the Xbox during this period?
So I didn't have either one, but the reason is because I had so many homies that had them that like I didn't really the GameCube specifically I didn't really vibe with it like that. Like I played it, but like again at the time I worked at Blockbuster, so what I did was actually borrowed one for like 2
Okay,
weeks from
yeah.
a
They
homie,
used to rent
and
out
I
consoles
literally
back in the day, yeah.
yeah, and so I basically rented every hot game from the beginning of time that was possible for that system, and I played them all in like a 2 to 3 week period. I just went crazy with it.
Please tell me
Uh,
you played Eternal Darkness.
yes, I did.
That was one of
Yeah,
the hottest games for the GameCube.
yeah, I played Eternal Darkness.
Yes.
No,
Beautiful Joe was another one. Obviously, Smash Brothers Melee was hot.
yeah, so I
Um,
played Beautiful Joe, but later, like when they like re-released it, so I played
oh,
it on
okay.
something else. Um, and then like you said, Smash, I played, but I didn't like the squad around me, like they didn't really get into like the way some people had like, they had whole teams of people just playing Smash. Like, so it never that was like the one that didn't take off in my circle. So I didn't like I found out about it later,
That's
when
wild.
yeah, like it's crazy because like it was big.
It was
But Smash,
massive, man. That was my joint right there. Roy was my boy.
yeah, my cousin actually played in a couple tournaments, and that was basically how I found out about it when we went to we had our first major family reunion, and he was like, "Oh man, you ain't never played, this and that," and he was putting me on. So
Yo,
Morgan
bro,
always
don't like
gives
to
me crap
disrespect
about
that
not.
GameCube.
Yeah, she loved the GameCube, so she
I
always gives
did
me
too.
crap.
I got the GameCube
Yeah,
for my birthday. I thought that joint was hot. Uh, Mario Sunshine was my game.
yeah,
Also, like I said, Eternal Darkness was hot.
hmm
NHL Hits was like a
okay,
game that I was really big on. I used to love. I mean, as you were talking about, like NBA Street and stuff like that.
hmm
All those games were ported to the
to the
GameCube as
GameCube.
well. Those controls were something. But
The control, yeah, yeah.
those controls are something. That Z button and not having no like you got the R one, but you ain't got no L one. Man, it was kind of
Yeah,
weird,
it
right?
was.
But that game was that game was how I used to play the Blitz games up on there. Yeah, I mean the GameCube was dope. F-Zero was tight. That fast
F-Zero
paced
was
game,
fire.
very fast paced game, and 60 FPS. That game was hot. It was very
Yeah.
colorful. Um, but um, but okay, so So you didn't have the Xbox or the GameCube. You talked a little bit about the GameCube. Did you end up doing the same thing with the Xbox?
So with the Xbox, I just had a lot of homies that had them. So I mean, back then it was still the real hot time to like spend a night at the homie's crib.
Oh yeah.
So it's been a lot of nights when it's just like I was at my. I mean, I basically one of my friends at the time he had one, and his mom. I was like, she used to just call me her son, which used to just confuse people to death because she was definitely white. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that shit
so
wild, man. I had
yeah,
friends, mamas like that too. That they used to call me
yeah,
like, and they used to talk to me like I was their son too. Like, boy, get over
exactly.
here. And I was like, oh
Exactly. Yeah,
shit.
but it was cool because I like everybody's parents always loved me, so I could always spend the night. Like maybe nobody else could, but Tony could always spend the night. I was always it.
Facts. I was that good
So,
boy to the
yep,
parents, but we sneaking
exactly.
wine coolers in the basement. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah. Like we can get in trouble
Mhm.
when they not here, but when your mama show up, no, I had no idea. Absolutely not. Yeah, so yeah, I was the one, she'd be like, keep an eye on them, this and that. Like I could always spend the night. So I spent plenty of nights at my homie's crib and he had it and we played the split screen, Halo messing each other up. So we played that. We played a lot of funny enough split screen Far Cry Instinct specifically. And I
Yeah,
could
it's the
not
first
tell you
one.
why. Yeah, like we just gravitated towards that game and we played a mode on there that was called Predator mode. And one person was the predator while everybody else was just humans, and you were trying to defeat the predator. And we played that nonstop for I can't tell you how long. And just like I said, I experienced the rest of them. My other homie, he also had an Xbox and stuff. So I experienced that over at his house. Like, and literally almost everybody I knew either had both or they had the Xbox at least. So a ton of my friends and stuff just had it. So I just constantly was exposed to it. So like I said, I played the Halos, I played the Project Gotham Racings, all that stuff. So I wasn't like, I just didn't own it, but I played anything that was hot on it, I played it. So
Okay.
yeah, including
Like
Fable, all that stuff.
let's talk about some of the third party games though around that time because the third party was popping. Third party
Absolutely.
was popping. That was definitely like the most popular games. I mean, still to this day, third party is the most popular
Hmm.
games. But I just want to talk about that time in particular, because there was some extremely hot games back then that I absolutely love. So like like Death Jam, Vendetta, and Fight for New
Yes.
York,
Yes.
yo.
Those are
Like
fire.
if you were into the football games, you had like NCAA football, like Race for the Heisman was hot
Yeah,
back
so I
then.
I, I loved the NCAA games. Those were fire. You could, especially when I found out there was a bunch of stuff you could do in them that you couldn't do in the official games. Like there was a move specifically in the football joint that you could toss the ball back to someone behind you, take the
Yes, it was
hit.
like one of the top buttons.
Yeah. And I actually was so
Just
hyped
do
the
an
one
option
time I got it
anywhere.
to work. Yeah, and just throw the ball back, had him block the guy, and then the other guy ran for the touchdown. And I was like, wait, you could give the ball to someone as long as they're behind you? I was like, what?
Mhm.
So yeah, like they had some crazy stuff. That's honestly one of the few joints that I was excited about in current day where I heard NCAA might be coming back. Because I was like, okay, now we might be getting something interesting. So
Right.
yeah, that was a big one. And of course the bully came out at that time
Bully.
frame too. Yeah, and that was one at
Madness
first where I was
fire.
like, yeah, I was like, am I gonna like this game? What kind of game is this? Like, I wasn't sure,
Yeah,
and then
kid
you
in
played
school.
it.
When you look at it, the only thing that's pretty is the R that says
Yeah,
Rockstar. That's the only
exactly.
reason you ended up trusting that game at all is because it said Rockstar on it. And you're like, it can't be too corny. It got
Yeah,
Rockstar on it.
exactly. Yeah,
And then
Rockstar is
they're
behind it.
good for the Warriors, Grand Theft Auto, Manhunt, shit like
Hmm.
that. Yo, talk about it.
Yeah, that was one of the funniest games I'd ever played. Funny enough, like I was just like I said, I was just completely lost at first, and then I was like, as I started to play it, it just got into it, man. And the depth and everything that was going on with the school, you had to be careful, not to get caught and stuff doing certain things. And it was just that game was phenomenal. That was something they definitely convinced me, to do. And then, like you said, I mean, even then, Madden was really hot back then. You had SSX Tricky, which was fire.
Yo.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was heat.
this is Roselle. Welcome to Garibaldi. Like the back of my hand, bro. You got the dude with the orange fro, the white dude.
Yeah, man,
I remember
they
that
did
joint.
it. That was a phenomenal game.
Also, like 2K5, bro. ESPN, NFL,
Yep.
2K, and NBA 2K. Man, those games were something else, especially because there was a point where I ended up getting rid of my GameCube. I got a PS2 around the time that Grand Theft Auto 3 came out. Played a ton of that, and then I went over to my boy's house, like, because like you said, we still spending the night and shit like that, like late middle school, early high school type of shit, right? I went over to my boy's house and he had a place. He had an Xbox. I brought over the PlayStation, of course.
Yeah,
because we had different games and whatnot to play, and I've told this story many of times before. He turned on Conflict Desert Storm. You remember those games, right?
I do.
Yeah, man, those games were hot. Those games,
Yep.
like, those were multiplayer co-op bangers.
They were.
Right there was Conflict Desert Storm, Back to Baghdad, Conflict Vietnam. All those joints were hot.
Facts.
But he turned on that game, and we were running through the desert, and he's like, "Hold on, real quick." Hit the start menu, went down to the music, right? And I had no idea this was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Bro turned on Tupac Better Days, and I was looking around like, what the fuck? Like, where do you turn that on from? And he's like, I turned it on from the Xbox. I was like, but how? Because I was the cat. When I'm at home, my PlayStation, I had the yellow and the red plugged in from the PlayStation, and then like the white from my stereo.
Okay,
right?
I got you.
You know what I'm saying, right? Because we used to have to do that back in the day to be able to kind of
so you could get both
the music into the game.
Yep.
Right? You hearing Gran Turismo on the left speaker and your music on the right speaker, right?
You
and you trying to make it make sense. Sometimes in the game, it's like it was kind of unbalanced. Sometimes, especially when the game took advantage of stereo.
True.
So sometimes you like it'd be really faint in one speaker when the person's talking, if they're on like a certain side of the room or something like that. But the Xbox changed that for me. So like I was able to like turn that shit on. And the biggest game that was a big deal on for me was probably an NFL 2K5 because I was able to make stadium music.
Okay.
And like I'd be walking out in the stadium, and I had purposely named my team the Firefighters because I used to play for a football team called the Firefighters when I was young.
Okay.
But this was back. Yeah. So once I ran out on the field, this was back when 50 Cent The Massacre came out.
Yeah.
And Lil Wayne The Carter 2 came out.
Oh man.
So I made my Firefighters team, and I was coming out the fireman, fire for fireman. And that shit was so hot, bro.
Oh man, when you get creative, man, and you come up with the stuff like that, that's always good memories.
Yeah, man. We're talking 04.
Yeah,
we're talking about 04 with because all the games, they still do it now a year ahead, right? So 2K5 and the game was only $20. Mad disrespectful to EA. Mad disrespectful. But EA deserved the smoke. I believe they still deserve the smoke to this day. But but yeah, man, that shit was just so hot. That was life changing for me. That's when I became an Xbox guy. Just because of that music, because music meant everything to me.
I can get that because that was actually one of the really cool features that I thought was dope when I did go to my friends' houses that had the Xbox and stuff like that. So I definitely get that. Like, especially like you said, when you're playing that or like a racing game or something, and you just want to throw on the music, you know what I mean? Like that's definitely big. So yeah, that was something that stood out to me early on. And they were definitely Xbox was always like the feature brand. They always brought something feature first. And I mean, they still do that. They still do that a lot today. So, I mean, a lot of the stuff was
their service.
Exactly. Yeah. Now the feature is the service, and they whether it was inevitable or not, because obviously PCs were always had some of these things like the hard drive, but they still they brought it alongside, and really they popularized it is what I'll say, because a lot of people did not know, but I was the biggest nerd, so I always knew, but that the PS2, most people didn't know what the slot was for in the back of the fat
Yeah,
PS2.
that big old the hole. Yep.
Yeah, the network drive, and the network drive was actually a
You got
combo.
to
It's a
screw it
network
on.
drive and a hard drive. Exactly, it was a combo, and that's the only way you could play Final Fantasy 11.
Right.
Like
It came with
so,
the bundle.
yep. So yeah, it was, man. It was just so many cool things like that to be a part of growing up. So yeah, seeing that firsthand, like you said, that experience, I got to experience that at my friend's house as well. Getting to see the music played, and I had a ton of fun with that, playing the different racing games at his house. So man, it's so many cool things you got to be a part of that make you appreciate all the crazy stuff you could do on your consoles and stuff today. So yeah,
Yeah,
it
man.
was
There's features on the old
huge.
console that I wish was still around today.
Agreed. Agreed.
Because the way that Xbox did that music thing, it was so dope that it would cut in cutscenes. Like in
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
cutscenes, when people were ready to talk, the music would cut out and
Yeah,
people
it
would start
wasn't just like
talking.
a separate app. It was like built into it to recognize the music as part of the game, kind of. Yeah. Yeah, they don't do that today, because if you're playing
Nah, you have
Spotify
to
or
pause
something in the
that shit.
background, you got to pause it. Yep,
Yeah,
you're
that's
right.
why that's why having the headphones with like Bluetooth is like key, because then you can just like plug your phone in, have your phone hooked up to it Bluetooth, and then just pause it right then and there. Phones right
Absolutely.
next to you and whatnot, compared to running it on the console at the same time.
Yep.
Um, but no, let's go on ahead and move on, because we gotta keep it moving. I got the other questions that I sent you and whatnot that I wanted to ask you about. And
Mhm.
and man, I mean, I could sit here and kick it and talk about nostalgia all motherfucking
Absolutely.
all day. All day. I told you earlier, I'm trying to keep this podcast to 2 hours, and I'm
I got you.
failing y'all today. I'm
I-
failing. But anyways, let's keep it pushing. So let's briefly go over the next generation. So Xbox came out ready to smack a bitch.
Mhm.
In PlayStation had they chest out but didn't expect to get hit in it.
They did. They did. Yeah, they
Tell me
they
what
flopped.
was where were you at during this time period?
So I mean, I watch things really carefully. I saw the 360 and whatnot. A couple of the homies did pick it up, but I was different. You know what I'm saying? I was patient, so I was like, all right, I could check it out at the homie's crib. I got access. I had 4 or 5 of the homies had a 360, so it was nothing for me to go to their house and play it after school, whatever. It
It
was
is a multiplayer
basically.
machine anyways, man. I get it.
Exactly. Yeah, so we pretty much played at they cribs nonstop. So I waited it out. I still was like, I know everybody joked, $599 US. Uh,
That shit was
even it
that
was
was
crazy.
expensive.
Yeah, even I was like, ooh. And then I was like, I know me, because by then I already had a specific taste. And I was like, yo, if I'm getting something for gaming, it's got to be the best. I don't want it. So I had to get the 60 gig fat boy with the back compat. I had to have it. So, I worked it out, talked to mom, saved whatever I had to, whatever, showed up. In the meantime, while everybody was having a ball on their 360s for that year, I still waited it out, got the PS3. Honestly, man, I still loved it. I still had a ton of fun on it. PlayStation took a while to get going. Um, it was but it was still a lot of fun for me. Like, there was all the stuff that I played, like, you wouldn't have been able to tell that like it even mattered, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, the homies, like how it's like, so back and forth now. Like, it just wasn't like that. Like, it just, I enjoyed playing on their systems when I went to their house and like stuff like that. And then it was like when PlayStation hit their stride in that third year and Little Big Planet came out, and like, they was all hype and ready to play that. And we played that 4 players deep. I was just as into Modern Warfare 2 when that kind of dropped. Modern Warfare 2, I was lethal on that game. That was when COD was it, when lobbies was crazy. That was the most fun, because that was kind of something that, again, that got brought up a lot during that generation, because that's when they introduced party chat. But I was actually grateful for the fact that there was no party chat during that generation for PS3, because man, that made them lobbies crazy. Like, whoo,
It's
oh
scary.
boy, yeah, it was scary. Like, I'm glad my mom never heard none of that, because yeah, she would have been like, "Nah, you got to get up off that." But yeah, man, we had a ton of fun. Also, funny enough, during that time frame, because uh, this is why I say I was always different. I was also playing, yeah, Dust 514. I see you. um, was that I was also playing MMOs at that time. So I had a laptop, I had a gateway laptop that was so bad that when I played Guild Wars on it, it would overheat and I would put it in the freezer. Uh, so it would cool down fast enough. Trust me, I know. I know. You're like, wait, you did
Well,
what?
I thought that was exclusively for Xbox.
Bro, trust me. Trust me. I was like, I did whatever I could to play the game. And like I said, I
Wrapping a
was in the
towel around it. He's like, how they do it on Xbox?
yeah.
I need to wash it down
How can I
too.
get this to work? But that was when you start discovering features, because one of the cool things about that is if we was in the middle of a mission on that game on Guild Wars or something, you could, if I got kicked out, okay, you found it's on the floor behind you. Sorry, but you see it? All right, but yeah, nah, but I would get kicked out, and then they would just stop the mission, wait, and then it would bring me right back in with them, right in the party. And I used to love that. So like there was a heavy time in that transition. And I think that's another reason why I wasn't as bothered as some people, because it was like MMOs were such a big thing for me at that time. Um, like I played Ragnarok online, like 4 or 5 different ones, and one of them I played for about 6 years. No one you know will have ever heard of this game, I promise you. It was called Silk Road Online.
Nope.
Yeah, no one you know will ever tell you they heard of that game. I don't even know how we got into it so heavy. I played it with my younger brother for like 5 or 6 years. And but that's what I'm saying. Like we played a bunch of other stuff. We eventually I finally capitulated to the homies and played WoW, just to prove to them that I didn't like it, because they were like, "Man, you've played all these other MMOs." Like, I kid you not, by the time people have discovered MMOs in this current generation, I have played over 100 MMOs. Like, it just they've so for me, when people are like, Final Fantasy 14 and they're excited, you've seen some of the fanfare around that.
Yeah.
I played it in the beginning, this and that, and I just kind of was done with it, because like they kind of haven't really evolved since then. So they kind of heavily stagnated. So I just hadn't played them. And then, like I said, by the time PlayStation really got into its stride, like I said, in year 3, like I was good to go. And I was having a ball with it. We had a bunch of, which again, another thing that a lot of people probably didn't do. We used to PlayStation had a feature where you could get in a chat and use your camera. So we'd be like, you could get in the chat with like 6 people, and we used to just vibe out and chat for like the rest of the night. Like we'd play Burnout Paradise, and then we would just hop in the chat afterwards and just vibe out until everybody just passed out in the chat. So we had some fun, man. That generation was really dope for me. Like I said, it took a while, to get going. And I know a lot of people, a lot of my homies gave me smack. Like, don't get me wrong, like that was still the talking trash generation. They was like, "Man, you need
Oh
you
yeah.
need an Xbox." You know what I'm saying? And I was like, "Nah, man, I'm good." They just swore I was gonna drop it one day. And I never let my one homie live it down, because he had about 5 of them from the Red Ring. And he
Mm.
just he he eventually was like, "All right, I'm gonna get a PlayStation." Like probably about that after that 3rd or 4th year, Metal Gear Solid 4, all that other stuff started to come out. He was like, "I'm just gonna get a PlayStation." Eventually I built a PC for him, which is ironic. He still plays on PC today. Um, but yeah, it was really balanced for me back then, balanced and chill. But like, yeah, like you said, a lot of people, the American way, something came out first, you hit hard, you hit fast. You know what I'm saying? Xbox had the marketing. They at the time they had some some really good third party deals with Mass Effect and stuff like that. But again, like it just didn't hit me like that just yet, which was crazy. And then the stuff that did, like I said, during that generation, like Fable and stuff, I just went to my homie's house and I played it. Like I spent probably like two nights at my one friend's house, like the whole weekend. Like I said, I'm telling you, it paid to be the good kid. Uh, you could
It
just,
did.
yeah, you could just get away with whatever you wanted. So I spent the night, sometimes 2 nights in a row, whatever. And we just played Fable to death. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. So that's something that I'm looking forward to current day. I hope they nail it. I hope they knock it out the park. Because Fable was a lot of fun. I even played something called Supreme Commander, which most people probably actually don't even know. It's actually an RTS game. Um, and it was only on Xbox. I mean, it was also on PC, but if you were console, it was the only way you was playing it. And I used to love that game. Uh, and it was just like one of my earlier experiences with RTS games. I used to play that for hours to the point where like my friend had a dog called Chewy, and I forget what he was. He was small, but we used to call him the Far Cry armrest for some reason because either you were playing Far Cry or something, he would always put he would always go up under your other arm that wasn't on the armrest and balance you out because he was a small dog. So he just called him the Far
That's
Cry
cute.
armrest. Yeah, man, that was the memories with that man were just so dope. So it was just like you said, man, it was back in the day, like it wasn't all this crazy vitriol and stuff. Like, yeah, the homies jabbed at each other, but like we was sharing, bro. I
Yeah, it
got this
wasn't deep.
game, you got this game. Yeah, it wasn't deep. Hey, let's go play this game. This game is fun. Okay, let's go play this game at my house. This game is fun. And that's just what it was. So I didn't miss out on anything about the stuff that I didn't have. Um, and then, like I said, I got into PC pretty heavy and it was just PlayStation from there and Midnight Club Dub Edition, 3 Dub Edition.
Ooh, house
Yeah.
real big, car real
Yep.
big, belly
Yep.
real big, everything real big,
Big.
man. Talk
Yeah, man.
about it.
I actually just looked that up because somebody was asking something on Twitter. I'm actually that the platinum for that game is 0.02%.
Not
That's
bad.
crazy. And I have it. That was crazy. Yeah. So
Damn.
yeah. Yeah, that was a big one. And like I said, Burnout Paradise was big for us back then. It was one of the funniest things because it was the PlayStation Eye or the toy, I forgot what they called it at that time.
The eye.
Was yeah, the eye was so funny because it didn't really get used for much. But for some reason in Burnout, they made it so it would take a picture of you if you got hit. So we would get ready to make funny faces whenever somebody would take you out and burn out. And we had all these funny stickers of each other just getting hit. Oh man. But some people took advantage of that.
Oh damn.
Yeah, you
I
already
already know
know.
where you're going with that.
Yeah. So you had to make sure you was playing with your team, you know what I'm saying, before you let that feature stay
Oh
on.
man.
Yeah, there's a reason it
You,
says on the box,
people ruining this.
experiences online may vary.
Yeah, they buried all right.
Yep.
Went to innocent to triple X.
Man, Nelson Wild in the chat.
All right,
But
so
yep.
let's breeze through these next couple because I just want to. I more or less am excited to get to these questions that I
Mhm.
wanted to ask you, but we have to get to today's consoles. So let's go on ahead and just breeze through Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and then eventually and then Wii U dash Switch.
Okay.
Where were you at? I'm assuming PS4.
Yeah, so PS4 day one, no questions asked. I was there from the jump, loved it since day one. PS4 Pro, same thing. I jumped on all that stuff. Like I'm always about the tech. I was also heavily into PC by that time as well,
Okay.
so that was a big reason why kind of like Xbox was kind of like an afterthought for me. But we did get one. We got an Xbox One day one.
I can't believe you got that console of all of the Xbox
No, no,
consoles.
no. I
You ended
know.
up with
Trust me.
one.
Trust me. There's a reason I'm about to explain. So my girlfriend is a really big tech person.
Okay.
So even though we had PCs and stuff by then, she was like, I want it for the tech. I want to experience because she had never had an Xbox.
It did have some pretty cool features on it.
Yeah. So yeah, and she used them. She had the Connect. She did the what was it, the the dancing game from Ubisoft. I
Yep.
can't remember, but she did that with the kids and they loved it, and it tracked all four of them while they were dancing, and she used it, so it was cool for a time. She even got the Xbox Day One achievement. You had to get the day one version of the Xbox One to get it. So yeah, that's the main reason we got it, because I was like, you sure you want this? It's $500 you about to drop, like you. And I got images and everything. I'm telling you, I'll share them with you at some point. I got
So it
they're
was
actually on her
enjoyed.
Facebook. Yeah, it was definitely enjoyed. Yeah, we had
I
the
used to
one.
love the snap feature on that motherfucker, man. I was
Yeah,
such a
I
fan
know
of
what
the
you're
snap
talking about.
feature, bro.
I used it. I also played what was it, the time one? What was it? I can't remember the name. The name is slipping me right now. The one that was like everybody called it their answer to Uncharted or whatever. The it
Answer
had
to
the
Uncharted.
yeah, it was like Remedy's game or something. What was it? What was that game?
Oh,
The one,
Quantum Break.
there you go, Quantum Break. So yeah, I played Quantum Break on there day one.
Quantum Break was hot.
Yeah, Quantum Break was cool. I played that. I beat that. So yeah, I mean, we had the time. We had some time with it. Um, we eventually were kind of like eventually it was sitting there, for a while, and we were like, all right, like I don't know. And then at some point, I convinced her to let me trade it in. I think when we got the PS4 Pro, and later on, for what did we buy? Oh, we bought a 1S for some reason. I can't remember. It was cheap. There was
Yeah, it's
that.
like 250.
Yeah, it was like mad cheap, and it came with like a game or something. So, I think it's because it was a Blu-ray player. It was a 4K Blu-ray player. That's why specifically. So I was like, all right, yeah, that's a reason. Because like they were stupid expensive, if you remember, for like a while. Like a standalone 4K Blu-ray player was like $800. And I was like, absolutely not. Um, so yeah, we had got one for that or whatever. But like I said, PlayStation 4 was legendary though. Like I'm not gonna shortchange it. The Last of Us Part 2 and stuff in the end, Ghost of Tsushima. Um, it was just like Uncharted 4, like there was just so many good games that came out during that generation. It was really great. The Wii, I didn't honestly, I played it, but I was like, I never had one because they were so hard to get a hold of. Uh, at one point, like I hooked them up for about 20 people because that was the console again that like your mom's best friend had one. Like
Right.
like everybody wanted one. I'm gonna get in
It's like the
shape using this
retirement home
thing.
console.
Yeah, exactly. So I hooked them up for a bunch of people. I played, Wii Sports and a couple other stuff on it, but like I never really got crazy into it. There was some really cool stuff on it.
Oh yeah.
Um that was dope, but like I just never really got one. Actually, we had one at one point, so I can't say I never had one. We had one at one point, but by the time like we had it, like it was already outdated by then. Like we wasn't really playing it. And then uh the Switch, of course, you get to that generation. The Switch, I bought it day one, but I didn't. It was really just honestly, it was a last minute decision. I literally was at my girl's mom's house, and I was like, "Think we should go get it? Should we go get it? I'm gonna go get it." Like literally, it was like that. And ran around the corner to Best Buy, and it was this long line outside, and I just stood in the back of the line, and I was like, "All right, I'm gonna see if I get one." And I got one, and I just bought whatever came with it at the time because I think Zelda was out, and I can't even remember what else was out. I basically bought everything that came out with it because it wasn't much choice when it first dropped. It was like a couple games. Um, and it's been a great console since then. Like I ain't even gonna hold you. I eventually got rid of my OG one for the Switch OLED, which is
OLED. Yep.
phenomenal. Yeah, Switch OLED looks amazing. And the collection of JRPGs that's on it is fire. Obviously, that's what I'm all
Yeah, they got a
about.
lot.
Yeah, and they came out with Fire Emblem, which I'm a huge fan of. I actually have
The classic.
a yeah, that's my joint. Like I actually swore I would never get a new 3DS XL, and I actually got one because right here they came out with the special edition Fire Emblem one. You could barely see it, but it's dragons, like ghost dragons all over it. and I had to get it. It was a special edition Fire Emblem one that came with the special edition version of the game. Waifu emblem. You're right. That's how people treated it when they got to Three Houses. Um, but yeah, I mean, they have an amazing assortment of Japanese RPGs that I just couldn't pass up. So even though I never really, I don't really vibe with the core stuff that Nintendo usually puts out nowadays, because I don't really play platformers and stuff like that anymore. So like Mario and stuff, like I do have them, but I basically have them because my girlfriend always asks for them, and she's like, "Yeah, we should get that game," and I'm like, okay, and I'll just get it, but then like no one will really play it. Like it's just, I don't know. It's like it's the de facto thing. Like you have a Nintendo console. How do you not have a Mario game on it? You know what I mean? Like that's what people's questions are basically. So yeah, that's basically it. And then like you said, you get to current day.
Yep.
Obviously, I do not have an Xbox because I have a PC, a monster PC. Um, so I do play their games, but I just play them on PC. I bought Starfield day one. You know, I bought the $100 version of that. Uh, Flight Simulator I played for years, so I played
That
for
game was
years on
fire.
PC. Yeah, I love Flight Simulator. That is a phenomenal game. It looks insane to fly around in and really get to experience that game firsthand.
When you
Um,
came from where me and you came from, we seen what Flight Simulator looked back in '95.
exactly, exactly. It's a whole different ball game now.
Yeah, it is. It's
You're
crazy
like, dang,
to
I can see the
literally see
stadium
your
in my
house now.
city. Yeah, like, yeah, it's wild. So yeah, that and then Forza Horizon 4, Forza Horizon
That's
5,
not,
same thing. I bought both of those day one, the $100 edition. So I'll be out here supporting, you know what I'm saying? I just do it at 160 FPS, you know what
yeah,
I'm
yeah. You
saying?
just play it
So
the way you want to play it. Ain't nothing
yep.
wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that
Yeah,
at all.
so
So,
that
so,
and
so
then
then
yeah.
I must ask the question then, since we're over here and we're kind of talking about this now. It
Hmm.
kind of seems like PlayStation's might be going that same direction.
Okay.
No, no,
Um
no. I'm not asking as like an. I'm not saying as anything's wrong with that, because
yeah,
obviously the
yeah.
more people that get to play things, especially if you got a crazy high powered PC, it's like
Yeah.
I ain't gonna play at no 30, 40. I'm not gonna do 40 FPS. Come on,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna do like 100 or 90 or whatever this game can be
Can
pushed
really
at.
do. Yeah.
What do you think about this whole kind of, Hiroki Totoki coming out and saying we need to quit bullshit?
So, I mean, the thing about what he said is like I look at what he said as like a CFO speaking, right? Because the key for me is like I've been in this industry way too long, and I've been actually a part like actually paying attention to the industry, not just a gamer. You know what I mean? So I've learned to listen to what CEO or CFO type speak is, especially when they're having a conversation with in his particular case, he was having a conversation with investors because it was an investor call. So a lot of times in those meetings and stuff, they reiterate um what is essentially already on the board, just to let kind of board members know what's going on. So to me, it just sounds like he was reiterating their current strategy. To me, that they're reiterating the fact that they're going to put day and date for their live service games on PC, which they've done with what was it Helldivers 2 is one of the more first examples, and the other
It did
live
great.
service games they're pursuing, yeah, and it's doing real good. um
Fun
and
game.
then yeah, it's an awesome game. I had a lot of fun. I'm waiting for some more updates because we wore it out the first couple of days it came out. We went crazy. We hit like level 23 or something, and we went crazy. um but yeah, I think honestly that is their best bet. And I think, to me, it sounds like that's what they're reiterating. That's what I particularly hope is what they're particularly talking about, because I think it's the prime strategy for maintaining their console relevancy, and dealing with the stuff that they're doing. It allows them to still pursue the single player games the route that they do, fully focusing on PlayStation first party, and making sure that they're developing first and foremost for the console that got them there. I think it's a huge strategy. You can see it, in tandem with the sales. Um, in tandem, like I said, with the sales, the PlayStation is still selling really strong. They get a little support on the back end for the single player games, and they release them 2 to 3 years down the road. And the people who wanted to wait, or if or not, they'll get them then. I think it's a perfect mix. You know what I mean? Without you're kind of getting the best of both worlds right now, the way they're doing it. So I think they're just reiterating the strategy. I hope that's what they're doing, mainly because as someone who has been a PlayStation client, or customer for 30 years, and someone that does also play on PC, um, the the issue for me in that case is that if PlayStation ever did go fully day and date, uh, I mean that would be PS5 would be the last console I ever purchased from them.
For real,
So
it's like that.
it's just like that because I wouldn't have no need. Like, why would I put 500 in another console where I could put that into my next GPU? You know what I'm saying? And keep it
'Cause
moving.
then you could have it in another room when where your
I
console
know
ain't.
what you said. I know, but I got 4 PCs in this house right now.
You a goddamn maniac.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm about that life. Like, so it's like you gotta give me something. You gotta give me
I
your
got
reason.
4 PCs. What the fuck is wrong
Yeah.
with you?
Yeah, man. I'll show you. I'll send you a picture later. But
Ugh.
yeah, my PC is right here. Her PC is right here. Both of them is 4090s. And then it's two 4070 PCs, one in the living room and one in the kitchen.
God
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah. So and my nephew already asking for the one in the kitchen. He already tried talking about I'm gonna save up. So they already and they're PlayStation kids too, obviously, because they got me as an uncle. But now they all the people they see on that streamers and YouTubers and all this stuff, they know they play on PC.
Mhm.
So, they're like, but the thing that keeps them cool with wanting a PlayStation is like my nephew is a big Spider-Man fan. So we bought him all the Spider-Mans day they come out. He know the difference. You can't be playing him. You can't get the standard. He want the deluxe edition. Like, so yeah, they know what's up. They've been really informed. They grew up really well with that stuff. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think PlayStation just like I said, as long as PlayStation keep moving the way that they moving, and that's kind of what I felt in that thing with Hiroki Totoki, then I think they're gonna be okay. I think they'll be doing really great. Because like I said, for someone like me who's really into the PC side of things, I understand like some of the dangers and stuff that could happen with them going day and date, and that a lot of people haven't really looked at revenue wise and some other stuff. Um, like a lot of people forget where PlayStation gets a lot of its money. Um, which a lot of that comes from there's a ton of people who like me play on both and they purchase a lot of games on PlayStation. As long as the game isn't like a detrimental difference on like between PC and the PlayStation. Like for instance, Dragon Dogma is coming up, right? Everybody's talking about Dragon's Dogma 2. I'm most likely gonna play that on PC because word on the
Same.
street is it's not gonna be 60. So I'm gonna max it out.
Word on the street is it is rough on consoles.
Exactly. Exactly. And just
Rough.
like I did before
Rough
with
like
Dying Light
rough,
2.
rough.
Yeah, yeah, like it's not looking good. So like, all right, I'm not gonna take chances. I got this monster PC, so I'm gonna pick it up there, and that's cool. Now that's not every game, mind you, but you know what I mean. Like some games, that's just how it is. Especially Unreal related games lately have seemed to really struggle.
Yeah, Unreal
The
Engine 5
optimization,
is
yeah,
pushing these suckers to the limit.
absolutely. So yeah, I just make the decision on a case by case basis. You know what I'm saying? Like Dying Light 2 was another one that when it originally launched, it was struggling on consoles. Now I heard it's been pretty all right. I know a couple
Yeah.
people that have played it and they got it kind of balanced out. But when it first came out, PC was the absolute optimal choice, period. If you wanted a solid experience on that. Now they got
Cyberpunk,
it
same
dialed
thing,
in.
yeah.
Yeah, and Cyberpunk. And guess where I purchased Cyberpunk? Day one, PC. Now later they got their stuff together and they optimized it. And I went back and I got the platinum for it on PS5 because I really, really love that game. and they did a phenomenal job with it on PS5, optimizing it in the performance mode. It was great. It ran wonderful. So, but I did originally purchase it on PC. So, yeah, I don't, it's not a specific loyalty or whatever. I always tell people when it comes to this gaming stuff, man, it's what have you done for me lately? Uh, you know,
That's really
I
just the consumer mentality right there.
exactly, exactly. And it's like, I love PlayStation. Like I said, I've been a customer for 30 years. But to me, if you're not going to offer me a reason to come to you, you know what I'm saying? That's like one of the spots I go to down the street. If they ever stop selling chicken wings, I ain't going there no more. Like that's why I go there, you know, because they got the bomb chicken wings. Like, so yeah, man, it's just like I
Yes,
said, they
I ain't
keep it
come here for
moving.
pork.
Yeah, I ain't come here for that. I came here for the chicken wings. So you got to keep offering me them amazing exclusives. And not, like I said, largely this isn't just simple for me, right? Because I've been in it so long, right? I understand from a developer standpoint the benefits that they get developing for a single platform in mind. You know what I mean? The console just working specifically with the PlayStation, especially when they're first party. Like again, all the little things that devs have said. Um, you know, here and there on Twitter. You know, I've listened to people who have been in the industry for 20 plus years. They've worked with Activision, Ubisoft, and then maybe they'll eventually work with PlayStation. And they're like, yo, I learned so much working on, I don't know, let's say the God of War team. And I took my animation quality to the next level, something I never thought I'd do. And they take that experience and go elsewhere with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that's what I like to hear. It's like people who have been doing this for so long could still feel like they could go to a team that's first party under PlayStation and be like, yo, I went to the next level. You know, like I grew working with this team because they showed me something that I've never done before. And that's kind of the benefit that I like that comes from like the PlayStation first party pedigree. Like it's just a certain quality to it and stuff that they put behind it. And I know firsthand because um like I said, that a lot of them have spoken about this. It's like, man, you know, I've never understood the benefits of working with something exclusively. Being able to spend so much more time developing the product, a lot more time in the creative process because you don't got to spend all this time debugging and this and that. And somebody, like, for instance, somebody said the same thing earlier. They were like, man, I wish, because they thought the sales were bad, but they were reporting something else. They're reporting the box sales of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in Japan or something, and they're like, "Man, I wish it would just come out on PC day one," because they basically he was like scared, like, "Oh man, I don't think it's going to do good. I think PC would help." And I was like, "Yeah, but you say that, but as, that's from a consumer standpoint. He's not considering. Well, I already know if you've played anything from Square on PC, their games always launch rough. Square needs that extra year that they're going to take for this difference between them launching on PlayStation and PC to come out with a much better product that, you know, is going to do nothing but benefit PC fans. Because if you launch broken on PC, you've seen the backlash. You know what I mean? Like they don't play that. So that's what I'm
No,
saying. Like
that's facts.
it's a lot to it out here, man. I'm just really passionate about
Because
this.
you know, PC players are the most patient.
Yeah, yeah. And
If
but
they
you know,
say
because
if your
they
shit ain't
want a
working,
good
I
product.
definitely ain't giving you no 60.
Exactly. So if you come out broken and all that stuff, you know, they don't want to hear it. So they'll wait that extra year or whatever they gotta wait to get a proper product, ultra wide support, DLSS. And you know, sometimes, you know, that's what you gotta let people know. And like again, like I get it, like some people out here, you know, they're just the gamer. You know, they're like, I just play the games, I just pick them up, you know, and they look at the industry from one specific side. But when you look at both, um, you really get an intrinsic deep understanding about why games come out the way that they do from the teams that they do and why they're capable of what they're capable of. I mean, you understand there's levels to this and there's reasons why certain teams are at a certain level. You know, when Rockstar releases GTA, that's a global event.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody on this earth trying to wait for that. Like, oh, that is it. I took the week off. You know,
Yep.
don't call me. I'm on the system. We out here, you know, getting it in. You know, GTA is one of those major events now. I mean, it is a global phenomenon. You know, so it's like there's just levels to this, and it's like some people are just at a level now that almost exceeds the industry as a whole. You know,
I mean, it's
Rockstar.
good. Yo, bro, it's good that they doing digital now because like when they dropped the new GTA, man, like imagine if that game was only physical. People would be
Yeah.
getting shot.
You right. You right. What you mean you ain't got no copy? What yep.
That or I'm he just got the last one. Okay, I see him out in the parking lot.
Oh man, you ain't making it out.
I
Yeah,
got
you
the
ain't
last
making it
one.
out.
That's what you meant.
Yeah, yeah.
People
Yeah,
getting
you're right
devoed
though.
left and right.
Yep. So
But
I
yeah, that's
still
good. That's
remember. I
digital
still
now.
remember that people getting knocked out in the parking lot for their systems. You know what I'm saying? When they was too hot, couldn't find one. So yeah, I remember them days.
Yeah, man, those days ain't that long ago.
Yep. Nah, not at
Anyways, let's
all.
go on ahead and get into these quick hitter questions because I know you got your fam that you're trying to kick it with, and I'm trying to kick back in game. I
No
am
doubt.
ready for this week. I'm about to drop my daughter off over at my mom's house because it's spring break for her, and I ain't got to deal with her 6-year-old ass for a week. So I am excited, man. I am excited. I mean, I love my daughter to death, man.
Yeah.
Brother need a break. Brother need a break. So let's go on ahead and hit these quick hitter questions and try to respect y'all's time and get up out of here. I'm already
Yeah, no
5
doubt.
minutes over my goddamn time limit. I told you, man. I tried to tell you, man.
I
Whew.
know.
But nostalgia's a bitch.
When you
But
get into it, man.
so here's a fun question I've actually yet to ask anybody on this podcast yet. I just seen it in some notes since I actually got a brand new phone last week. I had
Okay.
the Galaxy Note 20 and I just upgraded to the Ultra 24
Nice.
Galaxy. And this phone's pretty hot. I need to get a cover
Absolutely.
for it and whatnot because they still suspect when it comes
Absolutely.
to breaking and whatnot. But I want you to tell me right here what is missing in today's gaming that we had in the past.
So yeah, when I read that question, honestly, the biggest thing that personally feels like to me, at least in the realm of the games that I play, is honestly the confidence that comes from some of the Japanese developers. And the reason I say that is because I see a lot of them doubting some of their products currently and really referencing Western development and almost incorporating sometimes too much of it. And it's like, again, it's kind of like I told you with the chicken wings thing. If I wanted something else, I'd have went somewhere else. I want the chicken wings, so I came over here. You know what I'm saying? So that like to me, I want that confidence back that they had that gave me those top tier, games that they exclusively developed that were unlike anything the West developed.
Because let me ask you something real quick.
Mhm.
Since you brought that up, I'm
Yeah.
wondering how you feel with seeing how good Final Fantasy is rated, but how weak it's doing in sales. Because they're like, I mean, I know the game just came out, so there's still plenty of time to get, sales and whatnot. And, the holiday season will definitely make that game fly off the shelves and whatnot. But, like, what do you think about that? Like, do you feel like, because you just got done talking about the confidence with the Japanese and their game and then whatnot, and sometimes over appealing to the West, do you feel like the more recent Final Fantasies maybe over appealed for the West? Or do you think it's just the IPs just kind of, people are just kind of tired of it? Or do you just feel like it just wasn't marketed good? Like, it's just, I don't know. I'm not here to talk no trash on Final Fantasy
Yeah.
because it just is what it is. But I'm just going based off of what I'm seeing and stuff like that. People saying, "Oh, I'm surprised that it only sold yada yada yada." In Helldivers over here is
Going crazy. Yeah.
going nuts.
Yeah.
So I just got to hear it from you.
Nah, yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely I definitely think they undervalued the amount of people they would lose, especially specifically more so not with 7, because I think 7 will do okay just fine. give it the full week, and it's got a massive appeal. Like those fans, don't let those fans fool you. They buying it. But I think 16 for sure. 16 was very polarizing. The game in particular, and I got the platinum in it, so anybody could come get that smoke if they want it. Uh but the
I'm
game
still working my way
is
through it. It's a pretty good game, man. A lot of
it is.
cutscenes.
It is a
A lot
ton
of
of
cutscenes.
cutscenes. But ultimately, it's a really shallow game for an RPG. Um, it lost a lot of the RPG elements are pretty much non-existent. There's no elemental damage. A lot of the weapons and stuff are just visual changes. Like they don't really have any actual effect. Like the one weapon was called like the Wind God Sword of something or whatever. And you would think like when you would get that in a JRPG or something, you'd be like, oh, this is about to be lit. Like wind's gonna come out of this or something when I swing it or something like something cool's gonna happen. And it's just like nothing. Like it was just like a visual change.
Yeah.
Um
You're
and
talking about the
again,
green one, right?
yeah, the green one, yeah. Yep. And like I said, there was just a ton of stuff with it and stuff where they tried to take this um approach where they were like I guess that for lack of a better phrasing, the jack of all trades, master of none. So they almost tried to still be an RPG, but they lost a ton of that, and we're no longer really that. And then they also tried to bring in this Devil May Cry type
Yeah.
combat, but then it was like baby's first Devil May Cry. Like Devil May Cry, and if you've played it, is a much more complex, intricate combat system than what was in there. It was pretty rudimentary. Again, the game is still okay, right? There's
You
nothing
can mash
wrong
your
with the
way through
game.
it though.
You can mash your way through it. Exactly. It's not that complicated. Some
Like
people are
Devil May
like,
Cry, you had to like when you hit them in the air, like there's a lot of timing elements to
exactly. There's
that
a lot
as
more
to
to
where
it.
Final Fantasy, it's really fun, it's explosive, it's pretty,
Yep.
but like I don't really need to like think too much.
Exactly. There wasn't a lot of substance to it. And it's like which is crazy to think about because their games were traditionally a ton of substance. There was a ton of
Right. It's
stuff that
traditionally
you could
like
get into.
you sometimes wrap your brain, like have a hard time like the fuck do I do to get this motherfucker? Like, but in
Exactly.
16, it's
Exactly.
just like I'm just gonna hack and slash and dodge, hack slash
Yes.
dodge, hack slash
Yes.
dodge, special, hack slash
Yeah.
special, hack slash
Yep.
dodge.
Exactly, and that's what kinda really pulled it back for a lot of people. I mean, they kinda got away with the sales because like, people didn't really know what to expect, so they still had satisfying numbers for them and stuff, but they're really losing that, what I say, like, the confidence in that, right, is, like, specifically Square in particular, because 'cause I've heard some of the stuff, again, like, paying attention to the industry, I've heard some of the stuff that the director and producers have said, right? And again, this is kind of the issue with some of them kind of living in a vacuum, away from the rest of the world, essentially just developing games. And they're like, well, we felt like Americans or the West wanted, instant gratification. And by that, we thought, button mashing, basically. And I was like, wait, what? And I was like, and then as
Calling us
opposed to that,
dumb, pretty much. Jesus.
yeah, dumb, basically. Yeah, like I was like, what? You said like you don't think they're like intricate things, and then it vice versa to what they're saying, right? You have, the Yakuza series, which switched it up to turn-based, and now has the fastest selling Yakuza in history. Like people love to switch up to turn-based, and it's one of the best turn-based games I've ever played. I played Like a Dragon, and
That's
then I
wild.
haven't gotten to Infinite Wealth, but Infinite Wealth is going crazy, breaking numbers. Like it's going crazy. And then Atlas, what they do, they stuck to Persona. Persona 5 Royale took the world by storm, sold over 5 million
Well,
before they
shout out to
even jumped to anyone
Persona
else.
because, like I
Yeah.
told you earlier, I've never been into turn-based games.
Hmm.
And the only turn-based games I was ever able to really get into was Stick of Truth and Fractured But Whole, just because I'm very familiar with the
Yeah,
IP of South Park. I think
that
it's
makes
funny
sense.
as hell, goofy as hell. But shout out to Persona 5
Absolutely.
because that game came out and I was telling myself, no, I'm not gonna enjoy this. No, I'm not gonna enjoy this. But that story was so lit
It
that
was.
I forgot I was doing turn-based.
Yep.
I was so excited just to get to the next scene,
Yeah.
just to just to see that dirty motherfucker and be like, man, I'm gonna steal your motherfucking heart, you sick bastard. What you doing
There you
beating on
go.
kids and what you doing beating on volleyball players, man? What you doing out
Hmm.
here? What you doing
Yeah,
to
man.
your daughter, man? You're
Yeah,
supposed to
man.
be
They kept them themes
you're the
real.
Burger King. What the hell you doing? Like, you know what I'm talking about. And then
Yeah.
old boy, if you play through like the DLC and whatnot, it's like, man, the
Hmm.
one person you thought you was confiding in is over here manipulating the world. Yo,
Yeah.
it is
It
wild.
the psychological effects and stuff that story went through were crazy. The way that the combat was constantly evolving, adding the baton pass and then the other skills later, the combo attacks that they added that you could synergize with the two different people. Like there was always layers to it, the weaknesses, the different personas, maxing them out and combining them in the compendium, making new ones and more powerful. Like it was just so many levels to it, but at the same time, like you said, the story, the character development, you just always wanted to be like, all right, me and the team, we about to get this. You know what I'm saying? We got, you always felt compelled to push to that next castle. You know what I'm saying? And be like, yo, I ain't gonna let corruption run my city. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I loved it.
Right.
And shout out to Persona for that, for real, because it got a ton of people into it, not just you. Um, that really pushed a lot of people into it, and that was as their first experience into
Yeah, I never
JRPGs. My
got into
best
like
friend.
Shin Megami or like any of the older personas, but like after playing Persona 5, I was like, they talked about the re-release of the new Persona 3. I was like, hey, I'm
Yeah,
kind of a fan now.
there you go. There you go.
So
And
like, so I
that's
got
the
it downloaded
same
on the
vibe.
Steam Deck and my Xbox right now, and I'm
Yeah.
just like trying to knock out a couple other games before I play it because when I got into Persona 5, it was a fucking problem, and I spent
Hmm.
like 140 hours on that game and I couldn't stop. So I already
Yeah.
know like once I actually turn on and start that game and get into the story, I'm not gonna want to probably play anything else.
Yep. I do not blame you. It was the same way for my best friend that I told you was in the chat earlier, Morgan. She had never really played him, and I got her into Persona 5 Royale. She is such a big turn-based JRPG fan now. She got the platinum in Octopath Traveler 2 before I did.
God
So,
damn.
like, yeah, she went, and that is hard. That is not easy to tell anyone whoever looking at thinking about that. Yeah, it's got one of the toughest bosses you could fight in a JRPG ever in order to get the platinum, and she did it before me. So I was like, you know what, you official now. I was like, dang, you doing stuff I ain't even did yet. So,
Yeah, I think I
and that was all
remember
free from that.
Inner Cheat Code talking about that not that long ago, talking about
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
how he was
It's a
sweating on that
crazy
last
boss.
boss.
Yeah, that it's like a secret extra boss or whatever, but to get, you want 100% it, you gotta beat him, called Galdera. But yeah, that boss is crazy. So yeah, that was, and again, that started or stemmed from her playing Persona 5 Royale. uh and now she's also playing Persona 3 Reload with me. We're both playing at the same time. But like a lot, like you said, we're running into the issue now where it's like we're also playing Rebirth, and then before that, we had to play Remake before Rebirth came out, and then so now the games are just kind of stacking up, you
Yeah,
know. So
it's a real
yeah,
problem because I'm sitting here looking at Persona 3, and right around the corner is, Dragon's Dogma 2,
Rise of the
Yams,
Ronin. Yep, yams.
Hellblade, and like I'm still sitting there like, fuck, man, I still got RoboCop. I still got like man, I still got Hell Divers, and I'm trying to like just I want to get to 50, but like,
Yeah, you're like, I don't
man,
know.
like it's just a lot of games, and then the updates on some of these games and DLCs coming out. Shit, there's still supposed to be Starfield Shattered Space.
Shattered Space. Yep.
That's still
Yeah,
supposed to be
I'm actually
coming out.
waiting to jump back into Starfield until Shattered Space drops. So I've seen some of the way it
Same.
looks and stuff, and they've done some amazing updates. But
Oh,
I'm like, you know what?
word.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like,
You
don't
got something
touch
to
it
say
yet.
about it? What's an
Yeah,
update
no, I
that you
mean,
heard that was pretty hot?
Well, for me in particular, I mean, they've just been improving the overall experience of the game entirely. So a lot of the FOV, because I had some stuff going on with the FOV when I would fly my ship. I built a really big ship, and I couldn't see past the ship because it was too big. So yeah, I needed the FOV to
I
be
had
back
the same
further.
issue. I made the
Yeah,
USS. I made the USS NCC 1864 Reliant from
nice.
the Wrath of Khan, and my protagonist in the game was
Mhm.
Khan Noonenside.
Nice.
So I
I
ran
love it.
around as Khan, and you can imagine the kind of choices I had. I was a dick.
Absolutely.
It was
You gotta
phenomenal though. It
live the
was a great
character.
role play.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But yeah, I
you ain't
mean,
lying. Once I made that ship, I couldn't
mhm,
see.
you couldn't see. Yeah, you gotta fly it from the first person or you ain't got nothing. So yeah, so
And I
they've
wanted
been
to
working on
see it.
that.
It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
exactly. I want to see it. Yeah. So thankfully they've been working on that, because I was like, hey, if you're gonna let me build a ship this big, you gotta let me see it. So they've been working on that. They've improved the lighting throughout the entire game, going as far as going into individual buildings and stuff like that, editing the lighting. And if you remember, the lighting was already really phenomenal in a lot of the
Yeah, it
interior
was.
spaces. So I've seen a lot of footage and stuff from where they've edited and adjusted that, as well as the lighting, the way it appears on like subsurface scattering on the faces and stuff to give it a more realistic appearance.
Yeah, instead
They've
of
been
that
doing
kind
a
of
lot of
dry
work.
look,
Exactly, instead of that dry look. Exactly.
everybody looked like
So
they
yeah.
needed lotion.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, man, they've been doing some really dope work behind the scenes. And then of course, me having it, I own it. Like I said, I bought the deluxe edition or whatever it was called, the $100 version. I bought that on Steam day one, and then I also played it on Game Pass just for fun. Just to have because I had two different versions going. So basically, I had a female character and a male character, so I just played both versions. Um, and then like I said, it's just they've been doing really great work in preparation for Shattered Space. So I'm excited to jump back into it. I did start it just to see, and they did also, of course, add DLSS on PC,
Yes, they did. Yeah,
which is a huge difference, man.
big deal.
Like the performance is crazy. Obviously, my PC is ridiculous, so I was already playing at over 100 FPS, but that's not the point. It
No,
looks
it
so much
literally will
better.
add like another 20 frames.
Yeah, yeah, like it's a
It's
big
crazy.
difference, but not even just the FPS is better, it looks better. Like that's what's really dope about it. It just looks so much better with DLSS. Um, which and then
Yeah, you don't have
bonus
that
it looks
weird little line around the characters that's bad anymore and shit.
exactly. So yeah, they just been doing some really great work. So I'm excited to play that when that drops later this year. And then like you said, we got Hellblade. It's just man, it's been phenomenal, bro. I'm not complaining at all.
Not a
Yep.
bit. Not a bit, dog. Well, all right. So let's keep it moving. We still got a few more questions. So the next one I'm going to ask you is, what gaming genre do you refuse or not enjoy playing, like really at all?
Metroidvania. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I
Fair
played
enough.
them pretty heavily, back in the Sega generation and stuff. Because I mean, you really had no choice. You know what I'm saying? That's what we
Right.
had. I
That
played The
was
Lion
the
King and Aladdin,
best they could
and
do. Not a whole lot of
yeah, like
3D back then.
exactly. So yeah, but like nowadays, like I'm just not a fan. Like the new Prince of Persia, I played that demo for about 8 minutes and cut it off.
Oh,
Yeah.
disrespectful.
No, no, no. But I think see the
That
difference for
man
me and a
watched the
lot of
first cutscene and cut that shit off.
no, I got you though. But see the difference with me and a lot of gamers today, I could tell when something is still amazing, but not for me. Because a lot of
Yeah.
people would be like, "Oh, that's trash," and I'm like, "Nah, that was a great game, but it ain't for me." Like I'm just like I'm very good at seeing that and depicting that. Not her saying she could have answered that. Yeah, she right. She could have answered that, which is ironic because the host of the podcast that me and Morgan are both on, his favorite genre is Metroidvania. So
Yikes.
he always cries every time. He's like, Nate, are you gonna play this one? And Nate, what about this one? And I'm like, bro, give it up. It's never gonna happen. like I've just accepted that it ain't my genre. So yeah, that's definitely if I had to pick one, it would Metroidvanias are probably some sort of puzzle game. Like when people are just like, oh my god, this puzzle game is so phenomenal. I'm just like, absolutely not. Like I'm
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
weren't a
playing.
scoring guy.
Yeah, no, nope, not going near it.
Feel
But
you, I feel you.
yeah, I definitely. But I always tell people it's not 100%. There's always an exception to the rule. You
There
know,
is.
I'm
Persona
always like,
Persona
yeah,
was my exception.
exactly. And that's why I always try to put people on, man. I'm always like, look, I know you don't like this, but you might like this. Give it a shot. So
While your boy
yeah,
keeps hitting at you. Like, come
yeah,
on.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I
he
ain't gonna
just
give
keeps
it
like,
up.
yeah, just maybe it might be one, so
So you're saying
yeah.
there's a
It's
chance.
there's a chance. And some of them look great. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there's some where they threw some RPG elements in there, some other stuff, and I'm like, dang, that
What you
looks
think about that
really,
Tales
really
of
good.
Kenzera game?
No, I think that looks dope. Yeah, you talking about the joint with the African
Brother?
team where
Yeah.
yep. Yeah, I think that looks amazing.
Yeah.
I-
I already got it
yeah,
pre-ordered, tried it on Steam. It was hot.
yeah, I need to try the demo because I have it on Steam, but I just man, I've been so crazy. Like I'm thinking about it right
It's
now,
like
and I was
15-minute demo. Give it a try. It's like
yeah,
15
I
minutes,
need
20
to.
minutes.
It's been so crazy though, bro. Like I literally was playing before we got on. I was playing the Unicorn Overlord demo, and that comes
Okay.
out literally tomorrow, like in 30 minutes. So like it's like I'm trying to play that because I was like, hey, do I really want to purchase that? I haven't had a chance to play the demo, but all the people I know that love the games that I love have said it's phenomenal. And like the first review for what I saw from it was a 9. So I'm like, apparently people are going crazy, people are loving it. But I'm like, man, I ain't even got no much, I ain't even got no more time. Yeah, you right. Platformers too, right, Morgan? Platformers too.
What? You don't like platformers?
Bro, I just can't do it. They dragged me kicking and screaming
So like
through.
a psychonaut. You can't do
Yeah,
it.
I can't do it. Can't do it. But
Ah.
again, I recognize that it is a good game.
You understand Mario was a platformer, right?
But no, I do. But back then, right? Back then I was about it. But Mario 64 is actually the last platformer that I could honestly say that I really loved. That you could really say was a platformer, like exclusively. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't like current day Ratchet and Clank has so much going on, like that I wouldn't be like, oh, that's primarily a platformer. Like I'm primarily shooting stuff in that game. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
You're doing a lot of shooting
yeah.
and dodging in that game.
Exactly. So yeah, it's just not my jam. I think I gravitate more towards the complexities in JRPGs, strategy games. I like man, I love nothing better than seeing a plan come together when I set it up right and the you know what I mean and I brought all the right the right stratagems or whatever and something even in something like Helldivers, like I said, the stratagems that to me is an action based game with a strategic element to it. Because
Yes,
man,
sir.
to watch it come together and you and the boys bought all the right stratagems and the enemies show up and they think they about to run you down and you put down that whole squad that shows up, ain't nothing more fun, man.
Oh yeah, I love
So
taking down a Hulk.
yep, yeah, man, it's
Love
awesome.
taking down those Hulks. Those Hulks in the tank. I,
Yep,
I just run behind the rock and I'm like, I got your ass. I
exactly.
got your ass. It's just like that dude that was playing 007 with the kid. It's your ass, boy. Get your ass. Yeah, that's how I be feeling. Just throw
Yep,
that little throw that orbital laser out. You're done.
exactly.
You're
Yep,
done. Man, I love that game. I'm gonna be playing some of that tonight for sure. All right, so
absolutely.
let's keep it pushing. So, a question I wanted to ask you is, who are some of the people within gaming throughout your, childhood on up to now that were very inspiring to you and helping you getting into, the hobby that you enjoy?
I would say more so a lot of the times it's more of a team and not necessarily a person. The one person that I could say that sticks out the most, if I'm talking about an individual, is definitely Hideo Kojima. I mean, he has just done so much, and to just be able to watch his process and the way that he researches stuff and just goes through things and is able to bring his team into, what I'm saying, that vision, to bring out these masterpieces that he's created over the years. I mean, like I
Have
said,
you
I
seen
always
that
tell people,
Netflix special or not that Hulu special?
yep, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
That shit was hot.
It was.
I enjoyed it. I was surprised. I didn't expect to enjoy it, but Yeah, you
but
end
it
up
was
learning
good
a
though.
lot about Cat.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he's just done so much stuff. Like I said, I've played pretty much everything that he's played over the years, and I've always been excited, even before. Which is funny enough, like Zone of the Enders, like I was excited for that before I even knew he was behind it. And then I just, lo and behold, I found out he was behind it. I was looking forward to that game for months before it came out. PSM magazine, following it like crazy, and everything he does always has like an extra element to it that you particularly didn't see. There's always layers to it, right? And kind of
There's
as he's
always a
gained his
sense of
freedom.
confusion with his game.
Exactly. Exactly. I always tell people, ask the biggest Metal Gear fan and then ask them to explain the story. And I was like, they about to be like, let me point you to this YouTube video, because don't nobody
Right.
remember all that.
That's the same. That's how I feel about Elden Ring. I was like, yeah, I beat it. And then they're like, yeah, what was the story about? I'm like, shit. As a matter of fact, I don't fucking know.
Exactly.
I'm
Like
just
by the
the
time,
Elden King. I don't know.
yeah, you're
I
like, I
don't.
enjoyed my time there, but I don't know. Like, yeah. And I mean, that's kind of where it is with him. But it's like, it's cool though, because like, over time, he's like the person that's been from like literally PlayStation 1 to PS5. Like the last game I gave a 10 out of 10 to, and I rarely give that. Rarely. I always find a way to take some points off. And I just couldn't when I played Death Stranding. I
Okay.
loved it. Yeah, Death Stranding. And it took me a minute to get into it. I didn't jump into it ASAP and go like, oh, this is it.
Same. I was actually a hater of that game when I first played it. I was a
Yeah.
hater because I
Yeah.
because I played like the first hour and and you'll understand this right away. I
Hmm.
played like the first like hour or two, but I was in a party chat the whole time.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
had no
That'll.
idea what was going on, right? I'm just
Hmm.
running around and I'm carrying this shit. I'm just like, hey man,
You
this is
just called it. You
stupid.
were like, yeah, this is dumb. I'm not feeling it.
Yo, I then try it again when there's nobody around. And I
Hmm.
played it for like just like 3 hours. And I was
Yeah.
telling myself, I was like, gotta give this a try. And the reason I got back into it, because I already owned the game on my PS5. I have the director's cut for the
Okay.
PS5. But then it came onto Game Pass on PC, and I was like, man, I want to put my PC to the test because at the time my 3080 was brand new. And I was
Absolutely.
like, yo, I wanna see what this is all about. Yo, I
Hmm.
turned on that game and the optimization was on point. It was
Absolutely.
mega optimized. I had everything, turned up on that sucker, and I was still getting like 110 frames. And
Yeah,
I
that game
was
was
sitting there
amazing on
like,
PC.
yo. And then that early beginning where you first get into that area, and then you have to go from that area to like your like pretty much your first main mission.
Yeah, yeah.
And Low Roar comes on.
Yep. Yep.
And like I said, I was in a party chat the last time, so I didn't take it too serious. I just was like music in the background, whatever. When I was actually paying attention to what was going on, and then Low Roar came on, and you could hear the baby and whatnot, I I really got into that motherfucking story.
You were
And
in
then
a whole
once
different world.
and then once they told me to go decommission old baby, I was like,
Hmm.
hell no. I was like, y'all are
Yep.
fucked up. Y'all got
You were
me
like,
fucked up. And then I seen that Sam was like, yeah, y'all got me fucked up.
yeah, I ain't doing that. Like, nah, we out, me and Lou, we out here for real. You know?
Yeah. So, so
Yep.
so I ended up getting really big into that game. Then you end up getting, the guns and whatnot, and you get the bolas,
Yeah,
you get the
see?
cars that hop.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that game was just amazing. But on top of that, it was just visually stunning.
It
So
was.
like going into the snow areas with my rusted ass truck,
Hmm.
right? Running from BTs for my goddamn life. Heavy snow, the visibility is like zero.
Yeah,
And it just fighting for your life. Fighting for your
absolutely.
life, throwing them grenades like crazy, man. Bro, I had so many goddamn grenades on me. Bro, I wasn't playing, especially with those big ass monsters with the gold face.
Yeah, yeah. Those were crazy.
Man, I was. Man, I was Joe Montana, bro. I was
chucking them.
yeah. And then I'd run back to the truck, reload on more grenades. Sitting there using the blood packs, trying to get more. Man, that
See,
shit was wild.
that's what I'm saying. Like when once you got further, you knew what it was. You got to see how the gameplay kept evolving as you were playing. The story kept getting more and more complex. There were more layers to it that you didn't even know you knew about. Like it was just that was just a crazy experience. And I'm glad you went back to it and you got to get that, because everybody who only played it, like you said, for an hour or two, they never really understand that they didn't really get started. They didn't even really see the game.
Yeah, they're
And
like
now
it's a
you know.
they thought the same thing I thought. I was saying, nah, this is just like a walking simulator, but like for the first
Yep.
couple hours, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, and throughout the game, it is as well. But there's so much more to it. There's a lot of
Much more.
fighting through this, going versus actual, other human enemies, and
Well, that's the first
trying
reason you could
to
tell.
build the damn highway so you don't have to deal with that bullshit
Exactly.
no more.
Yep.
You know what I'm
But that's what
saying?
I'm
Like,
saying. Like
so yeah,
you could tell when somebody quit, because they'll be the first people to be like, they're like, oh, you don't fight in that game. All you do is walk or something. Like you could tell, like, oh, okay, you didn't get that far.
yeah, nah,
Yeah.
nah,
So
they
yeah,
ain't
like
never have to run through that base.
nah, not at all. Like I said, there's so many different elements to it. And that's like I said, why for him in particular, it was such a big deal. Like Hideo has always pulled out some crazy stuff. Like I said, like I talked about earlier with the PS2, when I talked about, playing Metal Gear Solid 2 and just going through that. I played it on every difficulty. I got every single dog tag for all difficulties. Like
Different.
man, I was so good at that game. At one point, I went home, called my homie on the phone, and we raced through the game. So we did pull-ups, because you had to do the pull-ups to get stronger, so you can make sure you maxed out your ability to hang over the cliff so you didn't fall off. So we would do all the pull-ups to max it out, and then we would speed run the game, and see if we could speed run the game before we had to go to bed. Like, I mean, I played that game. So yeah, Hideo was a huge part for me, man. The other stuff, what I would say, like I said, when I said it was more so teams, is because it was just that's what it involved. A lot of the things that really took place for me, like I said, Xenogears, uh, was so significant for me when I discovered it. Like I told you, when I went and I discovered that game just out of nowhere, just saying Square Enix on it and so on and so forth. The team behind that now being Monolith Soft, uh, is now, of course, there's the team that makes Xenoblade. So they've just, from Xenogears to Xenosaga to Xenoblade, they have continued to be just a force that just makes games that I just absolutely love. Um, Again, just another team that's so many layers to what they do. I mean, they invented entire religions and stuff for some of the games that they've created, that people just, you can get crazy deep into some of this stuff when you really get to see what they've made and what they've gone through to get to that point. Like, the inspiration for that is crazy. And I will say, probably one other thing is probably, I will say, Nintendo as a whole, but like OG Nintendo. Now that I watched the movie for Tetris and realized what they had to do to get Tetris, bro. That, if you have not seen that
I
movie,
haven't seen that movie yet. That movie looks out. You're talking about the movie for the whole Russia thing?
yes,
Still need
yes,
to see that joint.
bro. I ain't even gonna ruin it for you, but bro, when I tell you Nintendo went to war, bro, I did not understand how serious Tetris was until I watched that movie, bro. I watched it. Morgan got me to watch it. And we watched it one night, and I was
What
like,
service is that on?
I got you. I'm gonna double check. Um, but yeah, that,
'Cause I love
bro,
documentaries.
that movie puts everything into perspective in a way that you're like, yo, Russia, number one, Russia has always been crazy,
Yeah.
apparently. No matter the era. But yeah, bro, the things they had to go through to get that game, and to see, not only do you get to see the game, but you get to see the fact that they were working on the Game Boy and how secretive that was at the time. And I mean, it was like, yo, we had DEF CON 5, 10 floors below the building. You never saw this device. Like that's how serious the Game Boy was. So yeah, man, it's gonna be that was probably the other thing that was really inspirational, obviously, because
That's
they also
technology, though, dog.
it is. It is.
People don't
And
want
it's
you up in their business when you when you got something that you know is a hitter.
Mhm.
People are like, nah. You just a basic customer too. Fuck up
Exactly.
out of here.
Exactly.
You ain't on
Yeah,
this
so
floor. This is a floor that you need a key to.
you can't get in there. So yeah, Nintendo was wild back then, bro. They was raw. So yeah,
I'm gonna
when you
say
get
they
to
the
see that,
same gangster they was then.
yeah, exactly. I was like, you see how quick they took Yuzu out? It took about 2 days.
Uh,
Yeah, that was the quickest settlement I ever seen in my life. I was like,
yeah. I mean, that might be the realest feud that we see in the coming generations is Nintendo versus PC.
yep,
That's gonna
yep,
be that's gonna be a real war
yeah,
because those two fan bases like have been there from the jump.
yep.
But anyways, all
So
right, we gotta keep it moving because here we are, 40 minutes past my goddamn time limit.
yeah.
But anyways, what is your favorite studio and what game best represents that studio?
My favorite studio. That is such a toss up these days because developer or studio is one thing, and then publisher is another thing.
Right.
So you got to be
I'm
careful
talking about
because
strictly development.
yeah, strictly a developer. Honestly, current day. Honestly, weirdly enough, even though I'm into honestly, I probably have to say Falcom, which is probably something you probably haven't heard on the show. But
I haven't heard it yet. No
yeah,
one said that.
Falcom would be one of them, and I would give it to them. But the only reason I would come away from them, and I'm gonna explain, is because I feel like they just haven't stepped up to current day standards. And so for that, I gotta give it to Atlas. Atlas has been relentless, and they have been the embodiment of what I said earlier that I felt like was missing. They stuck to what they always wanted to do, and they didn't let them change what Persona was, and they just made it bigger, they made it better, they brought it to the next level, and people finally vibed with it.
Man,
And like,
shout out to Sega, Bandai Namco, and Capcom with the strong comeback. With the
all of them,
strong comeback.
all of them.
Those suckers right there have been in the business for a long time, and man, oh man, they stepped it up.
Absolutely.
So
Nah,
all
I
right,
definitely agree. Yeah. But
so
yeah,
let's
Atlas.
wrap this up and get you out of here.
Hmm.
But I got two more questions I gotta ask you. One's like a compounded question, and the other one's a fun one. I'm gonna go with the fun one first. If you were to revive two games that are dead IPs, what would they be?
Yeah. So the first one, funny enough, which would be weird because I'm not I I don't really talk about FPSs all that much, but it was big, and me and Fox played it a lot, which was Resistance. Resistance Fall of Man.
Okay.
I thought that was great. I enjoyed the story and stuff like that, and I felt like they were on the cusp of just really grasping it with three. The online multiplayer was pretty healthy, but like I said, I really enjoyed the story, and I really think that that game could shine in current day. So I really would like to see Resistance make a comeback, and I think that would do really well.
Give us better buttons
Absolutely.
now. Ain't
Yeah,
nobody
you're
trying to shoot
right.
with R1 anymore, bro.
Facts.
It was weird
um,
then, and it's weird now.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
but yeah, all sorts of gun games had weird buttons. A for some of them, square for Metal Gear. Square.
Mm-hmm.
That's you
Yeah.
had to release the button to shoot it.
Oh
It was
no, it's
weird.
coming. It's coming, Sonny. I know. And see, the chat know me too well. They already know the next game.
There it
The
is.
homies already know. Yeah.
Oh, that's number
So
two.
that is
Xenogears.
number two, Xenogears. Yeah, I would definitely have to revive that. That is something that they kind of left behind. It's a whole complicated thing with, the
Let me get ahead of
development, uh, and it kind of led to funny enough, a real interesting thing me discovering later on because they kind of cut it and they cut the development short for Dish 2 for Xenogears for they wanted the team to work on Final Fantasy, funny enough, and largely because they thought Xenogears was too complicated and that people wouldn't vibe with it. And now it's one of the best games they've ever made. So yeah, Xenogears would definitely be the one that I would bring back for certain. It is my favorite game of all time, and I would definitely bring it back.
Okay. All right. I like that. I like it. All right. So here's the last compounded question that I got for you. I
Hmm.
want to know what frustrates you about gaming as a whole. So any part of it, whether it's the fandom, the development, the publishing, whatever, right? And then I
Hmm.
also know from a selfish perspective, what would be your dream come true? So going ahead with the first one, what is like the thing that irritates you the most about
Misinformation. Misinformation is so rampant these days. I hate it. It
it? Yeah,
just
who's
creates.
first? It doesn't matter who's right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so bad. And I hate it for so many people who just get blindsided and don't know the difference. And like, I mean, because I just see too many of the innocent homies that really just enjoy gaming kind of get caught in the crossfire and get blindsided by
Oh, I've
stuff.
got caught in that crossfire before. I think anybody's been caught in that crossfire. Just accidentally. You think you on a roll, and then you find out that you was stupid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean that's definitely the thing that irks me now because it's like I said, I mean somebody told me something earlier, and I just know this person is just really honest and just like a genuine person. So he was like, "Oh, this happened," and like like he told me something like extreme, like PlayStation shutting down, man. That's crazy, man. I hate to see it, or something. And I was like, "Wait, what?" And like then he told me like the two or three things that led him to that, and I was like, "All that is completely false." Like he was like, "Wait, what?" And I was like,
That's wild.
"See, like that's what I'm talking about. Like people out here just spreading craziness, and it's like, but why though? Like it's crazy because all the misinformation happening is something that we genuinely just enjoy. That is gaming, but it's like people out here really lying about it, and it's like, man, that's crazy. So yeah, misinformation would be the biggest thing.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's just fandom, and I understand. Like sometimes, you think one thing and it ends up being another, but
mhm,
it's the it's the people that stand on it, even though they know damn well they cap it. That's really
exactly,
annoying.
exactly.
Like have fun with it if you want to, but I don't know. At the end of the day, it'd be nice if we just all understood that we just here to have a good time. Stop trying to ruin everybody's fucking day.
Exactly. Exactly.
You doing it for malicious purposes is great.
Yeah, that's wild to me.
All right.
Dream,
Yep. Dream
dream.
come true. You can be selfish with this
Uh,
one if you want.
yeah, dream. I mean, dream could come true would be honestly a way to speed up development. Yeah,
Yes,
that
sir.
would. Yeah, that would be the dream come true because that's the struggle right now.
Make good optimized games a norm.
Yeah, yeah, that would be wonderful, bro. Just speed up development, make it easier for the people that are behind these projects, and make them be able to get these out at less cost, at a faster speed. So that's my hope. When we talk about AI and what it might do for the future, uh, hopefully the system with doing that. So
No doubt,
yeah,
brother. Well, I tell you, man, interview was a lot longer than I anticipated, but man, I had a blast talking to you. We relived a lot of moments
we did,
today,
we did.
and I thought it was excellent. We had a lot of things in common that we worked with, but we also had a lot of differences as
Oh yeah,
well. So I mean, I always enjoy learning from other people what they had going on in their lifetime, you know, throughout from being a kid all the way up until their adulthood. And I always like to try to find, you know, a little neutral spot where we can kind of kick it, be together, you know. Yeah, I was just thinking a little bit of Tupac right there, a little Thug Pash. But anyways, oh man, we are finally down at the end. I gotta ask you, do you have any questions for me before we do our sign outs?
No, man, I learned a lot as we kind of went along at the same time. So like kind of knowing where you came from and some of your stuff. Some of the stories that you said, like I heard the one, like you said, with the Xbox and the music and stuff like that. So I knew that was big for you.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, man, it's just interesting to see where everybody kind of went through. You know, we talked about Def Jam, Fight for New York and stuff, and just the generalized stuff, you know, about discovering games, you know, when you didn't know anything about them or you only knew about them in a magazine. So, I mean, honestly, man, it's just been great talking back and forth. I feel like we vibed, you know, off of each other's stories real well. So I feel like I got to learn a lot myself as we're going along. So yeah, I'm good to go.
That's what's up, man. Thank you so much for being here. And just one more time, you guys can find Enate here on Twitter at, excuse me. Oh man, I got the burps. At the real Enate on Twitter is where you can find him. That's where he does all of his updates on what's kind of cracking with him, what he's playing, and all that stuff. JRPG and Nate, that's the man right there. But yeah, you can also find me here also on Twitter at Ham Solo 05 Gaming. But brother, I always ask this. I always ask some people to say this on our way out, and I want
Mhm.
you to tell me how you would describe gaming in just 3 words.
Oh man, 3 words. Uh, as I would say, phenomenal, extraordinarily, or extraordinary, and fun.
Phenomenal, extraordinary, and fun. That's Enate, y'all. Thank you so much for enjoying this time with us. Y'all make sure you hit the like button and subscribe here as I continue to do Behind Them Six episodes with all different types of people throughout the gaming community. Whether you are actually taking part in gaming and creating stuff yourself, you're a podcaster, or you're just a flat out gamer, I want to talk to you and get to know who you are and what you like and how you were brought up. This is your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming from the TSWS Gaming YouTube channel, letting you know to keep it gaming or keep it moving. Y'all have a wonderful night and a good weekend. Peace
Peace.
out.